Now we're recording. Okay, so yes, this is what we want right here. Perfect. Nice clean image, black and white. That's exactly what we need. So we're going to just copy the image back into Inkscape. We're going to right click and paste. What's going on here? Did I not copy it? Let's see. So copy image, paste image. See here, we're on the wrong layer. Devil's in the details. So when we turn that layer on, we're going to have 5 copies of this image. So here we are on layer 2. Now let's paste it. There we go. Now we can see what's going on. All right, so from here, we're going to go ahead and right click and trace bitmap. And now you'll see we get a nice perfect trace of our artwork. So to get the red part back, that's the easy part. We're going to go ahead and choose path and break apart. Then we're going to take this outside piece right here, this very far outside piece, and we're going to go to object and lower to the bottom. And let's just color so we can see what's happening a little bit easier. And then we have to do the same thing over here to the G because it's not connected. So we need to do the same thing. So we'll go over here to object, lower to the bottom, we'll give it a color, and there you go. Okay. And it looks like we have to do the same thing to the eye as well because it's not connected either. So we'll do object, lower to the bottom. We'll give it a color here. And now we've got that going on. So now we're just going to go ahead and select all the parts that are black, or all the parts that are black. So we just select one, right click, and we choose select same, fill color. It's going to select all of our black. And notice it also found the black up here in our image. So we're going to shift click that because we don't want that part of our selection here. And we also don't want this piece part of our selection. And let's see, is there any others? No. So we'll go ahead and hit Control K. That will recombine. Oh, there's all of those. So yes, so we want to do this again. But let's go ahead and select same fill color again. But let's go into wireframe mode so we can see this. So we don't want this piece part of our selection. And then we don't want this inside piece part of our selection. We don't want the part of our selection or this part. And I'll show you why here in a second. Everything else is fine. Control K to combine. So now we've got that going on. And then what we're going to do is all these interior pieces, we're going to select them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to combine those into one because we can only have one cutter. So Control plus, that is union, or we could have done Control K, either one. But then we're going to take the black bits here, shift click the red, Control minus. So we're just, all those areas were now dropped out, okay? So then we'll go ahead and select everything here, and we'll go ahead and resize it. And for, again, this is for the caps, gift boxes. The maximum width of our logo on the gift box caps is 82. So this is locked. So we just set that to 82. And then we'll go ahead and save this. Okay. And then one thing that we might want to do, and we should do, especially when we're working in Bamboo, we always want to try and minimize the number of parts. So if you see here, there's quite a few parts here. So for example, this background of our eye could be combined. So shift click the red, Control plus, it could be combined. And then also over here, the G, shift click the red here, combine, Control plus. So now our red background really is just one piece. Then we can do the same thing with the black. Okay, so our black actually is all one. Perfect. So now you can see we just have 2 pieces that we could go into Bamboo with. So let's go ahead and do that for this one. Let's go in and go into Bamboo just to show you, for those of you who may have not already seen this process. We're going to go in and we're going to find SVG convert. Going to come in 10 mil thick. And for our cap, also our lampshades, our koozies, right? You could use this real easily for a koozie. We're going to make it all 1 millimeter thick. So I just come up here to scale, make it, we don't want uniform scale. We'll make it 1 millimeter thick. Okay, so now it's 1 millimeter thick. And then we have 2 parts. So over here on our objects tab, we'll have 2 parts. One is black and one is red. So this first piece is going to be our background. So we'll make it red. And I guess that's not really a red, is it? Go ahead and make it red. There we go. Now it's a red. And then the other piece, we're going to make black. Now this piece here, so when we're doing cap designs, this is how it works. The first color is, so we make the whole thing 1. And then the first color is always at 1 in the Z. So when we click on the move tool and we hit this, we hit it at 1 in the Z. Okay, so that's what it looks like. So if we zoom in here, you see how, now this black, if I alt click the black, you see this little shadow? That's actually embedded in the previous color. And that's the way I always set up my cap files. Now, if this was 3 colors, the third color would be at 1.5. So I always add a 0.5 millimeter for every color. So each individual piece is only 1 millimeter thick, but we add to the Z just a 0.5 millimeter. So there you go. So this is ready to go for a cap. All right. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to slide this over. And like I said, I'm going to give you these files so you'll be able to use them. Now, we take this file here, go to the scale tool. So it's at 82. All right. And let's say we want to put this on a lampshade. We want the thickness to remain the same, but we have to scale this bad boy up quite a bit, right? Let's say we want this, we're going to put it on a lampshade, and we want it to be 150 millimeters wide. Okay, well, if we come in here to uniform scale and change this value to 150, okay, look what happens. Now it's 27 millimeters thick. That's not going to bend very easily on our lampshade, right? But I want you to pay attention to this value, 5308. Okay, we're going to undo that. So hit Control Z, and now we're not going to do uniform scale. But we're just going to type in 150, just like we did before. And then we're going to manually 5308. So when we do it that way, our logo proportionally does not change. It looks exactly the same. But the thickness remains the same thickness. Right? It's only 1.5 millimeters thick. So we'll be able to bend it real easily to fit our lampshade. We just warm it up a little bit, and we can bend it to the contour of the lampshade. So when we want to scale things up without changing the thickness, that's how we have to do it. We scale it, find out what that magic number is supposed to be, then we back step and redo it manually, and you'll have it. So we'll go ahead and save this to our desktop. So we'll be doing more and more and more of these SVG conversions. Now, these particular ones were simple stuff, right? Our original artwork was pretty good, but I would encourage you to submit to us any SVG that you want converted, and the more complicated, the better, because that's the kind of SVGs that everyone struggles with. The easy ones like this, pretty much everybody should be able to do by now, because we've shown you quite a few examples. But if it's more complicated, the background's busier, the logo itself is just more complicated, we encourage you to submit those SVGs so we can work through those and show you how we would tackle them to get them converted. So now I guess we'll have Maya go ahead and show us how to create your vanity box with Silhouette Studio and Tinkercad. I guess actually just Tinkercad.
Actually, just
So
Tinker. Yeah. Yeah, it's just Tinker.
so I'll stop sharing and take it away.
Okay. Thanks for having me. So, last week we did a vanity. I showed you guys how to do the mirror, the back plate for the vanity. So now we're going to get into showing you how to make the vanity in Tinkercad. You don't need to be in Silhouette at all. So let me share my screen and we can go ahead and get this popping. And you can eat for a lifetime off of these vanities because you can get really, really creative. You can get really creative with them. Hold on, I'm sharing the wrong screen. All right, go back. Okay, this one. Yeah. You can get real creative with your vanities. So yeah, different styles, different legs. So I'm gonna just show you the basics to creating a vanity in here. So we're gonna open up Tinkercad and we're gonna click on Create 3D Design. And as you see, you have your plain work, your open workspace, your work plane. So we're gonna come over here to the right panel and let's start building our vanity. So let's get a box from the right hand side under basic shapes. And the measurements I want you to use is going to be 240. So 240 by 150. 240 by 150. And then in the middle, I want you to type in 67. All right. And just like that, you have your box for your vanity. All right. So now let's go ahead and we're just gonna, you can either control D on the keypad on your keyboard, or you can come up here to the left hand side and duplicate this and just move it out to the side. All right. So this is actually going to be our insert to cut the hole for our vanity on the inside. So in the middle, I want you to do 59. I want you to come here and I want you to change this to the 240 to 232. And then let's change this. No, I'm sorry, wrong measurements. Let's do 135 here, 135 here, and do 104 here. 104 there. And then 104 in the middle. All right. So now this is going to be our insert for our drawer. So let's go ahead and duplicate this one. All right. And then move that one to the side. And we can turn this one to a hoe. Go ahead and turn this one to a hoe. All right. Now click on this one. Let's do 112 and do 143. And then we're going to do 57 in the middle. All right. So this is going to be our drawer for inside of here. So this is going to be our drawer. So now let's go ahead and might have to turn it around. Yeah, because mine's not. Yeah, that's what it looks like. All right. All right, you can turn it around. I held down the shift key and I just held right there and just turned it around. So now you can come and put that box inside of there, the one you made the hole, and you can just highlight both of them. You can hold down the shift key and select both of them. And we're going to come up here and we're going to click on union group. And we're going to union, well, no, first let's align it. So click on the align tool and let's line it in the center there. And let's line it in the center there. And then let's double check and make sure it's not peeking through the bottom. If it's peeking through the bottom, you can actually click on it, right? So click on the hole on the inside and you can press up on the keypad. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that 4, clicking it 4 times up, I brought it up 4 millimeters from the bottom of it. So we should be good. It shouldn't slice a hole in the bottom now. But then you would just basically select both of them. And we're going to come up here and we're going to click on union group. Oh, it did. So let's go back. Let's bring that back up some more. Hold on. Let's bring that up. So 4 wasn't enough. And you can click on your solid and turn it into a hole and turn your hole into a solid and peek in here and make sure all right, I'm gonna move that up some. Because that's
what was the measurements from that last box again?
Yes. So which one you need, the inside or the outside?
The inside.
All right, so the inside box is these measurements right here.
104, 135, and then 57, right?
104. This is, remember we turned this one. This is going to be our drawer right here. Remember we turned our drawer into, this one is 57. So this is going to be the drawer right here. This one right here that I said is 104. This is going to be the one we're using to cut the hole because we wanted to peek through the top. So we want this to cut the hole in it.
Okay.
All right, so now this is, all right, let's turn that back to a solid. Let's get this line back up. Okay. All right, now we can turn this back into a solid. Turn your solid back into a hole. And let's union group. And just like that, we have our drawer. So that's the base of our drawer right there. So we're going to go ahead and put that to the side. This is going to be 2 drawers. This is going to have 2 drawers. So once we're finished with our handle on this, we'll duplicate it. So we don't need to put ourselves to making 2 individual drawers. So now let's go ahead and get our cutout for our main part of the vanity. So come over here and get you another square, a cube. All right, and the measurements for this one is going to be 232 by 153.50. So do 232 by 153.50. Enter. And then we are going 59 in the middle. So it should look like this. And you can go ahead and turn it into a hole. And let's come over here and let's line this up with the vanity. So you can highlight both of them. Click the align to. We're going to align in the center there. And we're going to align in the center there. And then we're going to align in the center here. Okay. Now, it's peeking through the back a little bit. So we're going to click here on the front. And we're just going to bring that to the forward. We're going to count 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that should have took, yeah, that took care of it. Once you're done aligning it, let's go ahead and highlight both of them. We're going to click on Union Group. And just like that, we have our insert, our hole to our vanity. And you can come and grab your drawer right here, and you can actually start, you know, putting it in there, and you can see that it fits in there. You know, you can line it up. And it fits in there perfectly. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and start working on our handle. You can do whatever type of handle style you like. It's totally up to you. So for this example, we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to use just grab this spear tool right here. And I'm going to basically just bring it over here to my drawer. Okay. The size of your handle is totally up to you. It's your preference, your liking. So now I'm going to basically just highlight both of these. I'm going to click up here on the align tool and I'm going to align it in the center. I just want to align it in the center and then I want to align it in the middle right there. Okay. So now I know that is centered. And then, well, I actually should have did it afterwards because it's going to probably move out. But I'm going to just push this back just to touch it just a little. Just a little. I just wanted to barely touch it. And then we can come and align it. And that's actually fine. That's good. Yeah, that's good. I stayed on track. All right. So once you align your knob accordingly, you're going to click on your knob, Control D on the keypad, or up here on the left-hand corner, you can click on duplicate. And we're going to go ahead and put this one to the side. Okay. Because this is going to be the one that we actually print. This one we're going to turn into a hole. All right. And because we just want to put a little indent there just to be able to know where the handle is supposed to be glued on at. And once you highlight it, we're going to go ahead and click on Union Group. Okay. Go back because we're going to have to push that in just a little bit more. So let's just click on it and then up on the keypad one time. And I see it's going in right there. So now we can highlight it and let's click on Union Group. And there you go. There's a little indent for you to be able to put the knob. They know the knob gets glued right there. And then you just come back right here, click, highlight both of them, click on the align tool, go ahead and get that aligned back. Get that aligned back on your drawer. Cool. All right. And just like that, you have your drawer and your handle on your drawer. Now you can decide you can group this together and you can actually print this in one piece, or you can print this little handle separate. It's totally up to you. It's your liking, your preference. I don't mind a long print. So I would prefer to probably print it, you know, together on it. It wouldn't bother me none. But once you complete that, all you do is click on that and then you're going to Control D on the keypad, or you can click up here and now you have 2 drawers. So now Okay. And just like that, there's your vanity. So I showed y'all how to do the back for it. But if you wanted to put legs on it, right? I don't really need to move this up and, go to the bottom of it for the simple fact that it's the same all around. So for real, me personally, how I would do it if I wanted to put legs on it, I would just basically click on this, figure out um we're just gonna do square legs because I'm not real fancy. Kev does my legs, so I'm not real fancy with legs. But say because we went spear on the knob. Let's do a spear. Let's do spear legs. So we'll come over here, grab the spear again. You size them up. Say you want the legs to be 30. So let's do 30 all around. All right, let's do 30 all around. So you basically gonna come over here. All right. And it's this simple to putting on the legs. Um, all right, now you can click on the align tool. We be having trouble with the align tool in here. That's why I don't really like to use it. But if you click, it'll show you the different areas of placement where it will place it at. But like I said, I struggle. The align tool is very faulty. So I am an eyeball person. I'm not real good um with measurements and stuff like that. So basically, once you align it up, get it, put a little indent in it, and you see the -2, that was letting me know that I went down 2 millimeters into the design, this piece right here. Um, and then we're gonna just duplicate and do the same thing. You line them up accordingly, and then duplicate. And then duplicate one more time. All right. And once you have them lined up accordingly, now my legs, I do print my legs separate to things. I print my legs separate. So once you have them lined up, then basically we already know our measurements for these. We did 30 by 30. So you can go ahead and turn them into holes. We're going to turn them into the holes, and them is going to be our indents. But let's go ahead and just duplicate this one and put that to the side and turn this into the hole. And then so we can see that it is pressing in there. And then we're going to hold down the shift key and click on all 4 of our legs. And then we're going to click our red box. And then we're going to go up here to union group. Oh, nope, that was ungroup. Go back. We're going to go up here to union group and union group it together. Come on. All right, let's boom, 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 boom. Okay, there we go. And just like that, there's our indent for the bottom of our vanity. So we know that this is going to be the bottom of the vanity. This is where our leg's going to go. So then we would just basically, you can even do it over in bamboo, or you could do it here, but you can control D 3 times and make a total of 4. But let's go ahead and let's bring it over to bamboo. So now we're going to go ahead and export, just exporting as an STL. So that was that part. Then I'm gonna just put the number 2 behind this, and click on this and export that piece as an STL because it's all just one solid color. And then I'm going to click on that and title this one, add the number 3 behind it. And we're going to export that as a STL. So now we have all 3 of our pieces to our vanity. We're going to go ahead and open up Bamboo Studio. All right. So, all right. And let's go ahead and go to File. We're going to go to Import. And let's go ahead and start importing our pieces. So, here go one piece. Bam. Look at that. You see how low the triangles are? I love it. I love it. When you import a model and the triangles are low, you know you in there like swimwear. So import. Let's get our second piece. Bam, which is our drawer. There our drawer. Look at our drawer, y'all. And it did not take us long to create it at all, guys. I swear I want y'all to give yourself more grace than what y'all give yourselves and really take the time because that's what it boils down to, not really taking the time. And then there's our legs. So basically, we're going to just click here and I'm going to Control C and then Control V. Bam, I got 4 legs. There go all my legs. And voila, we have a vanity, guys. And then we would just create another plate and we're going to Control V, Control C, and then Control V. And there's our second drawer. And there we have it. We have a vanity, guys. So I will make sure you guys get these final files. I'm gonna make sure they get uploaded on the Patreon. And as you can see, this fits a A1 build plate. So even if you wanted to, stack on top of it and, put another set of drawers, below it, it's up to you. It's to your liking. You can get creative and do what you want. So let's go ahead and let's start slicing and see what we come up with. Okay, and we didn't need any supports. Or is supports on? Let me see. No, supports is not on, and it did not require us to need any supports, guys. Now let's check our drawer. Now our drawer needs supports. So we're going to go and get us some supports for our drawer. We're going to listen to our slicer. And this is why I said it is so important to know your slicer. So, all right, the first piece didn't require supports, but now this piece does. So now it's sliced okay, it's fine. And the reason why it needed supports was because we put the knob on the front. So that's why I said, and this is a moment where I'm able to show you the difference in the two. To whereas if we print with the knob, you see it needs supports. But if we would come in here and print this drawer without the knob and print the knob separate, it wouldn't need supports. And yeah, and that's it. And it takes what is this? I think I saw 5 hours. So 5 hours for this piece. And I want y'all to understand when it comes to creating, don't greatness takes time. Masterpieces takes time. Like you should not be just coming in here whipping up nothing and thinking you about to in 2 hours you're gonna have a fully printed model to be able to give to a customer. Y'all gotta slow down. And I'm telling you right now, because what I know is you see everything, you want to print everything, everybody wants 3D printers and everything like that. But please, guys, take the time to learn your slicer. This is where you are printing from. You should know everything in here. I don't know everything, but I come in here and I play around. I stumble across stuff. I find stuff through trial and error. I've had several people reach out to me because something wasn't slicing for them, right? And it was stuck on repair. the manifold edges, and you're just sitting there letting it spin. Why? Why are you just sitting there letting it spin? No. We're going to go out of there and we're going to go back and we're going to try that thing again. If we got to close it out, whatever it is we got to do, you know, redo the model. It's plenty of times I come in here and my manifold edges are missing from a model from Tinkercad. And this is why I back Kev on what he said as far as when it comes to Inkscape. I am only in Tinker because I'm silhouette strong. Had I not had my silhouette background, I wouldn't be moving around in Tinkercad. I would have chose Inkscape because the next project that I'm gonna do for you guys, I struggled with it because I wanted to try to simplify it as much as possible in a way because, like I said, we're not like them other groups and stuff out here. Y'all are not my customer. I am going to stress that over and over again. The $20 that we charge on our Patreon is just to help us to be able to, you know, do what we do, take the time to do what we do. But I got 16 printers in here. I could easily be, it's Father's Day. I'm late. My niece hit me like, Aunt, what's up with the caps for Father's? I'm like, oh my God. I got my event tomorrow. I ain't even got all the stuff I need to print into that because I've been trying to really like focus and devote my time and stuff to you guys because I see where you guys needed help at. But please, guys, please. We are here speaking from experience, from trial and error, from everything. Like you got to really put in the work. Like it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not supposed to be a cakewalk. So I struggled in silhouette trying to break the image. Like Kev said, his design, breaking it down in Inkscape was 25 pieces. I'm like, oh my God, if his is 25 pieces, I know my piece is going to be about the same. So I challenged myself and I said, well, I want to try to get my pieces to simplify it. I want to get my pieces down to 15 or 10 pieces for y'all. So it could be easier because I knew that it would easily be a step could easily be mistaken and made. And as soon as that mistake is made, the first thing you do is get frustrated with yourself. You start feeling like you're dumb and you don't know what you're doing and stuff. And it's okay. It is okay. You're not dumb. That's not what it is. It's just taking you a little longer. So I think if you guys would fix it, you guys would really see that. So I don't know. I guess Kev's gonna
yeah, I'll jump in here and I will show you
the bank.
I really want you guys to really understand a couple of important points. If you insist on using Silhouette Studio, that's fine. But I do want to really stress this point. Just because you insist on using Silhouette Studio, because that's what you're more comfortable with, and you don't care to learn Inkscape right now, you do not need Tinkercad. And you'll see as we do more and more classes, and just in the example of the piggy bank, there is a lot of extra steps to go from Silhouette to Tinkercad. There just is. That's just how it works. And so you can go straight from Silhouette to Bamboo. You don't have to use the Tinkercad intermediary. So what we're going to do here is we're going to show you just real quickly, it won't take very long, exactly what Maya just did in Tinkercad, but we're going to just show you, just do it right here in Bamboo. And I don't think a lot of people make that connection, that really Bamboo is Tinkercad for the vast majority of the type of stuff we're doing. In regards to the Vanity, it's absolutely identical. And so ultimately, you want to get good with your slicer. That's really what we preach, is understand the slicer before you understand any other type of design software. And the reason we preach that is because we can go into Tinkercad, we can export to Bamboo, and then what? And then we got to make a change. Oh, well, we don't know how to make the change in Bamboo. Maybe we can make the change in Bamboo, but we just don't know how because we've never learned how to do it in Bamboo. So then we got to go back to Tinkercad, make the change, export it again, back into Bamboo all over again. And there is one big thing that you want to be mindful of. When you import a Tinkercad model into Bamboo and you do any type of Boolean operation after the fact, you will lose all coloring information. So if you did any type of changing colors of anything, whether it's painting it or changing the colors over here in the Objects tab, you will lose all color information. Now, if we build the model in Bamboo and we do a Boolean operation, then no, we could do all kinds of Boolean operations and never lose the coloring that we already have accomplished. And so those are just a couple of points. So again, we're just going to real quickly create the same box, the same drawers, and I want to show you a cool little handle. And that's it. I just want to show you, you can do it all right here in Bamboo, and really encourage you to try, because ultimately you'll be better off for it. That's the big thing. So somebody had a question. Ramona, you got a question?
Yes. Hey, so then can you give us like one reason why I would use Tinkercad, why it would be helpful before bringing it into Bamboo?
I can't give you that. I'm gonna be honest with you,
Uh-huh.
and that's the point that we're trying to like get you guys to see. Like, I'm not gonna lie, guys, I struggle a lot with bringing models from Tinkercad into Bamboo.
Mhm.
And I have to redo. You heard what Kev just said. Just the other night, I literally spent 2 hours doing a model, and I kept exporting it into Bamboo, and
Mhm.
I could not repair it. It would not repair. It
Oh.
wouldn't break apart. Nothing. So eventually, I had to say, "All right, enough's enough. I just got to go and redo it." You know what I'm saying?
Got
So,
it. Got it.
like, Tinkercad is a crutch. I'm gonna be honest.
Mhm.
I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. It is a crutch. That is what Tinkercad is. And I only use it
Mhm.
because I am silhouette strong. So
Yeah.
it is a Tinkercad's a crutch for me, y'all. I'm being honest.
Okay.
Like, for real.
Okay. Thank you. So that makes sense because just go right from Inkscape into Bamboo.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't need the extra step, especially when you're trying to learn.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. But I'm still bring it to y'all and tinker like I am, because we know that everybody's not going to want to, you know what I mean, do it that way. But
Just real quick, just to give you an example. Now, if anyone has used Tinkercad for a while, and certainly in Bamboo, we do not have the ability to wrap text around a path. Now, is there quote unquote a hack in Tinkercad to do this? Yes, there is a bit of a hack to, if you watch the HL Mod Tech guy, he has a couple of videos that he kind of walks you through this process of adding text to a curve, right? But here in Inkscape, there is no such need for a hack. And it doesn't get any easier than this. So all we did was draw a circle, and we have some text, right? And if we select our circle and then come up here to text and we say put on path, that's literally all there is to it. Now it's always going to do this. It's always going to put it on the left-hand side. Now I can't explain why it does that. It's kind of annoying. But if we rotate our circle, see, that's it, right? It's that simple. So, but there's all kinds of things like that, right? That we still have yet to teach you, but it's just little things like that. Like,
can
it
I
doesn't
point
get,
something out real quick, Kev?
yeah.
While
Mhm.
you're right here. So, for instance, you see how he just did that and wrapped that around there, right? Yes, we can accomplish that in Silhouette, but you got to go do that in Silhouette and then go into Tinker, versus him doing that in here and going straight into Bamboo. But not only that, you see this layer panel right here that he has up on the right-hand side? We don't have that in Silhouette. We don't even have that at all. So the process that we have to go through to even get to the layers it's too much. But go ahead, Kev.
Yeah. All right. So at any rate, let's pop into Bamboo and let's just walk through the process that we just did in Tinkercad. And we're not really we're really not trying to confuse you. We're trying to guide you to say, because we've had a lot of kind of pushback a little bit about people who just want to learn Tinkercad. And like I said, we're going to keep on teaching Tinkercad. But we want to make sure, especially because we're just kind of starting our journey, that is not our recommendation. Our recommendation is to figure out what your barrier is to Inkscape, and you help us help you and overcome that barrier, because ultimately you will be better for it. Like I said, I design files all day long. You guys see the files that I post. So you know there's a lot of capability under the hood of Inkscape. And we just need to do a better job of presenting that in a way that you can understand it. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to figure out how can we better demonstrate and convince you that that's the way to start your learning journey. What you don't want to do is you don't want to take all this time to learn Silhouette and Tinkercad, and then you get 6 months down the road and it's like, damn, I really wish I could be doing that more badass stuff, but now I got to learn the whole process all over again. You know, so in my opinion, you might as well start now. And
Yes, Shakia. I'm sorry.
Hey, you guys. So I was actually the one that posted today about Silhouette and Tinkercad, and I did respond back to you. But I was thinking about it after, you know, you wrote what you wrote, and I can only speak for me. Like, I am 100% willing to learn Inkscape and designing and Bamboo. But I think a lot of people are not very familiar, like are not as comfortable yet. And maybe we kind of jumped into a really hard projects when we're all trying to learn the new Inkscape and building in Bamboo. And maybe if we kind of start a little, like, I'm not going to say babyish, but if you're getting a lot of pushback about, you know, doing it in here, maybe they're feeling like I am, like the first design in doing in Bamboo was really hard.
All right, can I ask you
Okay.
a question?
Yes.
let me go ahead and jump in here, okay? Because it's really important that we understand this. And I am not, like I said, I'm coming, like I said earlier in my post, I said I really am coming from a place of just wanting to help, okay, for real. So if you take the words I'm saying as negative, don't, right?
No, I'm
Don't.
not taking it negative.
But-
I was just saying,
but-
like I said, I want to do a one-on-one with you.
No,
But I'm just saying,
I know,
me-
but let me
Yeah.
get through this. Let me get through this, okay? Because this is really important for everyone to learn. If you really want to start your learning journey in Inkscape, what we're going to ask you to do is we're going to ask you to do a little homework, all right? And what I mean by that is, for example, now we've gone through this. Now I don't know if you were in class a couple 2-3 days ago, but this is a perfect example. And Kia, you can speak up because I know you did this project. So Kia doesn't know anything about Inkscape, right? She doesn't really know anything about any design software for that matter. But this is one example that all of you, if you want to test yourselves and do just what I would consider the most very, very basic thing, is this little guy right here. It's 11 minutes long, almost 12 minutes long. And we did this live in class. And then I challenged you guys to go ahead and try and make this on your own. But it's just a little tab opener. But the things that we learn in here, we learn about doing offsets. We learn about doing booleans. We learn about Z distances, all the very basic elements of creating a 3D model. This little guy takes. We have to import the can opener boolean that's on our Patreon. We have to add a little key tag. We have to make sure that those elements that we add are part of the assembly so that when we go to slice it, it slices properly. This is a great little bitty project that everyone should be able to watch this video maybe 2 or 3 times. You know, it's 12 minutes long. It's not very long. But if you could get over that hump right there and just force yourself, you know what? I don't care if it takes me all day. I'm going to make that little puppy. And once you have that success, I really think like it'll start clicking just a little bit more. And so when you watch some of the more advanced projects, be like, oh yeah, I remember I did that in that little puppy. And that's why we made this particular one, because it's a really simple little project. But as you go through this list, here's another perfect example. See this one? This one is 11 minutes long, right? And this was a request by one of the Patreon members, and they sent us a JPEG image. We convert it to an SVG, right? We create all the pieces that we need to create our 3D model, and then we go into Bamboo and we actually create this in 12 minutes time. Again, just a really simple little basic project, but the elements that we do is fundamental to every 3D design we make. Every 3D design we make starts right here. Somebody asked, yeah, I don't know if you saw this in the Facebook group, but somebody asked about doing cheer sticks, right? And what are the cheer sticks? It's a plate. It's a big plate with a logo or text on top. It's 3D printed, and on the back side of that plate is a handle. Well, if you look at this example here, it's barely 11 minutes long. It is nothing more than a cheer stick. It is a round plate with some text on top, and we show you how to go into Bamboo and layer that so you can create your 3D model. So this is another great example of a project that you could just take it bit by bit, piece by piece, and hey, can I do this? If I can do this, I can understand Bamboo better. I don't know how many of these classes you've taken, but I repeat myself over and over again every class so you really understand. When we go through and we create the SVG, like last class, we created the Buzz SVG. And we say, take this finished SVG and build that model in Bamboo. Let's not even talk about Inkscape right now. Let's just focus on Bamboo. We take a finished SVG and convert it into a 3D model. That's really where we want your guys' focus to be at first. Then, once you get Bamboo nailed down and we understand those Z heights and how do we align things and use the assembly tool and you know, all those types of things, then focus on Inkscape. But it's kind of a multi-pronged attack. But as we go through here, this is a good little project. There's a lot of those. So like, let's see, what's another one? This is a cute one, right? So in this one, we're doing a little straw topper. And this one's a little bit longer. It's 17 minutes, but it's kind of the same process. But as we go through here, this one is a little Puerto Rican tab opener. And this one too, the Peterbilt tab opener. This one here, another tab opener. All these little things, we take this image that was given to us and we turn it into a keychain, and on and on and on. So the point is, there's lots of little projects. Forget about the long 4-hour training videos. Come pick you out a nice little project in here. There's bunches of them. This is a little cake topper project where we take an image and we make a cake topper. You know, that one is not very long either. But when you start watching these little projects over and over again, you're going to see similarity after similarity after similarity. Those fundamental steps are the same steps over and over and over again. This little guy, isn't he cute? This little Zim guy. And we show you, you know, how we were able to make that. So yeah, so there's lots of really great projects. This was a little Nike drip hype chain that we did. So there's lots of little projects in here that I think you could have some success with. This is a little Snoopy can opener that we did for a guy. So they don't have to be long, drawn out, you know, 2 or 3 hour projects. There are some easy projects in here that I think you'll find interesting to make as you go through. So definitely, you know, take advantage of that. Kia, did you have a question?
I wanted to say something.
Oh,
I would go ahead. I was about to say something about that.
So, in reference to what you said as far as the projects, you feeling like the projects are too much. Yes, I hear the pushback, right? The pushback don't have to be there because you guys have access to the, if you're a paid member, you have access to the one-on-one, right? But then You also have access to ask the questions in a live environment when you run into the problems. I have people scheduling one-on-ones did not show up. So I will say this while it is being recorded. If you schedule a one-on-one with me and do not cancel it, do not send me a message and say you're not going to make it, you forfeit your one-on-one for that month if you're a paid member. Because at the end of the day, if you schedule a one-on-one and don't show up, I'm sitting around waiting on you. I could have been helping somebody else. I could have been with another paid Patreon member helping them in a one-on-one. And I took the time out of my schedule to help you and you don't show up. I'm just sitting here. So if you don't use what's at your advantage, you're saying you're struggling in certain areas. I heard you mention Silhouette and Tinkercad. If you're one of my paid Patreon members, what you just did, you scheduled today. So now when you have your one-on-one with me tomorrow, I'll be able to tailor to what it is that you're struggling with, that you're having a problem with. But as far as like the projects, just with 3D period, nothing's a cakewalk, love. Nothing. The projects are going to be what they are. I don't like can openers. You see all the design and I do. I have yet to teach a can opener class. I don't like them. I don't like making them. I get frustrated with them and I don't make them, so they're not in my repertoire of what I make. So when somebody wants a can opener, I refer them to Kev. But the projects, and that's something simple. And I don't like making them. They give me a headache. I don't like doing them. But go ahead, Kev.
Kia, did you have something you wanted to say?
Oh yeah, Kia, I'm sorry, sis.
No, that's all right. I was just when you was saying to ask me about the software.
Oh,
so I know Silhouette. Like I worked in Silhouette for years. I'm not as good as Anya, but I worked in Silhouette for years. With the Inkscape, I wanted to learn it because it looked hard, but it's not as hard as it looked when he told me to do the can opener.
Yeah, little puppy.
I did, yeah, the puppy. I did it. I tried to do it without asking questions so I could try to get to know the software.
You probably worked at least a day. Actually, you worked most of one day and even part of the next. But you did,
yeah, because we was in class.
Yeah,
but
so,
then
yeah, I was going to say you struggled a little bit, but then it's okay. Let me rewind a couple steps. Let me figure this out because it's part of it is not understanding terminology, and sometimes it does take 2 or 3 times to work your way through. But if you utilize this library and just study it for a little bit, this video here, it's not very long. It's only 7 minutes, but this particular video here talks specifically about understanding the Z heights in Bamboo Studio, because that's really important when you're building your files. You really have to understand the Z heights, and we really kind of go through that specific topic at length. But there's a bunch of little things. Now this video here talks completely about Inkscape. So this is strictly an Inkscape video. And then this video here talks about how we take the SVG and go into Bamboo and develop the cake topper 3D model. So there's a lot of really great information in here. This is a whole video. This is what, 20-30 minutes long, but it's taking you from start to finish on building a lamp. So there's certain projects I like to learn by projects. I don't want to, I don't like learning by, well, you click on this button in the menu and then this does that and this does that. I like to see it. This one up here is another good one because it's simple. Well, this is a little straw topper one, but up here I just passed it. This one. So somebody posted an image and wanted to make a little piece for the top of their wedding cake, but they needed different initials, but they liked the basic design. So I show you how to import that image. It's only 20 minutes long. But I show you how to import the JPEG, trace it in Inkscape using the drawing tools of Inkscape, and then changing out the letters and ultimately going into Bamboo and creating your 3D model. So yes, in the class, and when we're doing the lives, some of our projects are more involved and more in depth, certainly like the NASCAR lamp, right? That was probably one of our biggest projects to date. But we're also partly selling the dream of ultimately where, you know, where you guys want to get to. Hey, you want to be able to create really badass stuff, unique stuff that you can offer your customers. Or if you're looking to learn to create files to sell, you don't want to create basic stuff, right? You want more badass stuff. And so we try to give you some more advanced stuff and a little bit easier stuff. But this if you just cycle through here, this is just creating a little 3D book. And really, this is a bamboo one, showing you how to just add text to the spine of the book. So certain things. This is a somebody requested a how do you make those little market signs, those little two-sided market signs. So there's lots and lots of projects. Here we're doing badge reels, how to make custom badge reels. So as you know, hype chains, you name it. We keep going through here. There's just all pretty much any project you want. This was a special project we did where we showed how to make a pen holder stand. You know, how do we do that from scratch in Inkscape? So this was the Maker World model, but they wanted some changes. So how would we do that if we were just using Inkscape and creating that? But like I said, as we go through here, lots of great projects. This is a pen holder that looks like a crayon box. This is a pen holder that I did for a local restaurant. So there's lots of really good projects in here that are not as complicated. Now, some of these projects are complicated. This is a fun little one. It's just making a little ducky gift box. And the reason I did this was because HL ModTech did this exact design in Tinkercad. And so I just wanted people to see the difference of how it was done in Tinkercad and then how we would do the exact same thing in Inkscape. But yeah, there's, you know, it goes on and on and on. So there's a lot of really good, simple and more complicated designs, but a lot of good information in there. And
So I'm y'all crutch for now with Tinker.
and good. And I was just going to add good information, not only on Inkscape and Bamboo, but just the overall process can be done with Silhouette and Tinker. Sometimes it's just knowing, you know, the generic process, and then we can take it from there. So anyhow, enough about that. Okay, I'm just saying there's a lot of really good projects, but that guy, do that guy right there. Do that one to start with, and I think if you have success with him, he'll be cute on your keychain, and it might excite you to learn more about the overall process. So let's just jump back into Bamboo because we got lots to get through still. But just real quick, I wanted to show you how, if we understand how Bamboo works, how very, very, very similar the design process is here in Bamboo compared to what you just saw in Tinkercad. So just like in Tinkercad, what did you start with? You started with a cube. So we right click on our build plate and add a cube, right? And then we can hit our S key for scale, and that brings up this window. And we know that we wanted to go 240 wide and we wanted to go 150 deep. Okay. So 150 deep. And then we wanted to go 67 tall. Right? I think that's where 6'7" came from, to be honest. All right, so there's our cube. And so now we need to go ahead. Did we have a question? Jamelia? Anyone? Nope. Okay. So anyhow, there's our cube, and we're going to copy and paste it. So we just hit Control-C, Control-V, right? Just like we did in Tinker. Now, I want this box to have 4mm sides and a 4mm back. So I need to make this box slightly smaller. So we're going to go back to our scale tool. And so for the width, we are going to deduct 8, which is 232. Okay. And then for the depth here, we can't have it 150, but we are going to leave it 150 for now. And I'll show you, I'll talk about why here in a second. But then the height, we're going to change to 59. And why 59? Well, because we want 4 millimeters on top and we want 4 millimeters on the bottom. All right, so now we want to connect these two, center them, if you will. Let's change the color of one. So we're just going to hit the number 2 key, and we're going to center these two. So when we select two objects here in Bamboo, we just control click. So we had one, right? So we have one selected, and then we control click the other. And then we can right click and see where it says align and distribute. We're going to align left, right, center. Boom. So now you can see those are lined up perfectly left to right. And then we're going to do the same thing again. But this time we're going to come down here, align front, back, center. Okay. Now, if you remember, our red box is exactly the same depth as the black. And I did that deliberately. Now, if you remember in Tinkercad, when we got to this point, Maya used her arrow keys to modify the interior box. She moved it 4 millimeters, so we had our 4 millimeter back. Well, we're going to do something similar here in Bamboo, but we're going to do it in a little bit different way. I'm an engineer. I went to school for architecture and electrical engineering. That's what I have my degree in. So I come at it from an engineering standpoint. So X, Y, and Z positions are a very natural thing for me. And as you begin your learning journey, they're really important when it comes to 3D printing. So we really have to understand how those work. But if we come here to our cube, we're going to move it forward. So we're going to move this cube forward. If we hit our move tool, you can see its current X, Y, and Z. Okay. So this is something we have to understand how this works in Bamboo. If we're moving in this direction, the direction of our arrow, we're going to add to this value. And it would move 4 millimeters that way. If we're going to move it the opposite direction of the arrow, which we are, we have to reduce this number. So instead of 42, we have to take 4 away. It has to be 38. And you can see that moved it forward 4 millimeters.
And I will add, you guys, it's so user-friendly in here. It's color-coded. The direction of the arrows is going to be your X, Y, and Z, and it's color-coded right there. So you know if you're going to move in that direction, you need to be in the green, which is the Y.
All right. So now we've run into a situation. And the situation that we run into is we centered, remember we centered left to right and we centered front to back. And this should have also centered top to bottom, but it couldn't. And the reason it couldn't is because this red box was not part of an assembly. In order for this red box to come off the build plate, it has to be part of an assembly. That's just how Bamboo Studio works. Because what we need is we need 4 millimeter space up top, and we need a 4 millimeter box at the bottom. So what do? Well, all we have to do is combine those two. So select one, control click the other, right click and merge. Now that is part of our assembly. Now to select items that are in an assembly, we have to alt click. And now we can isolate just that red box. If we just click on it, it's going to select the whole assembly. And sometimes it's difficult for us to see, well, do we have the whole assembly selected, or do we have just the one part of the assembly that we wanted? So it's a good idea just to come over here and see, look here, under the Objects tab, you see that it's the assembly that's selected, not the individual red box. So then we could just click over here. So we don't have to click in here. We could just use our Objects tab and be able to click the part that we need over here. And so you'll notice when we do other videos, especially when we get into Buzz, right? For our Piggy Bank, we name our parts. So when we're looking at the list here, all we can see is cube and cube. We don't know what cube is what. But if we named it inner cube or something like that, then we know, boom, we can click the exact part that we need. So getting back to our situation here, we need to move this up 4 millimeters. All right. So to do that, to me, the simplest way to do it is simply just use the move tool. Whatever the Z value is, we just add 4 to it. So in this case, right, it would be 33. So we just go ahead and add 33. Now, could we have used the alignment tools? Could we have just selected this assembly and right-clicked and choose Align and Distribute and this one, front, back, and center? We could have. We could have. But in this case, like I said, I'm an engineer, so I like X, Y's, and Z's. All right, so just like we did in Tinker, right? We now have to cut out our big black box. So we select that, and in Tinker, we would change our red box to a hole, and then we would select both parts, and we do a union group, right? Well, here we have an assembly, which is kind of sort of like a union group. But if we come up here to the mesh boolean, the green is our cutter. So we need to flip-flop those two because we need our red box to be our cutter, and then the blue box is what we're cutting. And so if we choose execute, see there? Now we have our box. I'm going to change this to 5 so it's a little bit easier to see. So same exact process. Literally step for step, it was exactly the same process that we did in Tinker, but we just did it all here in Bamboo. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to add a center divider to mine. So to do that, we're just going to add another cube. So we right click, add primitive, add a cube. My center divider is going to be 4 millimeters wide. That's in the X position. And then the depth, well, the depth, we know this is 150. And we can make this 150. It's not going to hurt nothing. Let's just go ahead and make it 150. Okay, now we do have a 4 millimeter back, but that's okay. Even though we have conflicting parts, doesn't matter that we have conflicting parts because the slicer will take care of any conflicting parts. So we don't really have to get too particular about getting the inside dimension. So in this case, we have the full depth, 150. We're going to have the full height of 67. Okay, so there you go. Full height. So now what we have to do is, of course, I'm going to go ahead and combine these two parts into an assembly. So we'll use our shift key and just drag over both parts, right click and merge. And then we'll right click and we'll go ahead and do our alignment. So we'll align and distribute, left, right, and center. That's going to give us left to right center. And then we're going to go front to back center with the next one, front to back center. Now, there is one drag to this alignment thing. And that drag is I have yet to find a way to tell Bamboo which piece I want to stay stationary. So in other words, if I selected my divider first and then my box, I wish it would move the divider to the box rather than the box to the divider. But there's really no way to tell it one way or the other. So that's kind of a drag. But anyhow, we can alt click our divider. Let's make it the same color as well. Okay, so now you see that's our box. So now what we need to do is we need to find out what the interior dimension is. We know what the height is because the original height was 67. Our bottom plate is 4. Our top plate is 4. So we know that the interior dimension is 59. But we don't know off the top of our head. We could do all the math, but instead what we're going to do is use the measure tool. So we're going to come up here to measure. And this is one thing Maya can attest to that Bamboo does way better than Tinkercad, is just a simple measure tool. So we're going to click here on the edge, and then we're going to click here on this edge, and it tells us how wide that is. And it's 114 millimeters, okay? So now we know exactly how wide our box has to be. So when we're making our boxes, we make them 2 millimeters less, okay? So again, we're going to add a primitive cube. We're going to go to our scale tool. On the X, we're going to go 112. And then on the height, we're going to do, that space is 59, and we do 2 millimeters less. So we do 57, okay? And then what are we going to do on the depth? Well, the depth here, I'm going to be a little bit more complicated. It's 150 minus our back plate, which is 4, right? So now we are at 146. And I want the front of my box to set 3 millimeters back from the front edge of my box. I just like that little setback. That's just me. So we're going to go ahead and make this 143 deep. That's how the math works out. So 143. Okay. So that's how big my drawer is going to be. It's going to fit right in there. But now we got to cut the drawer out itself. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to go ahead and copy and paste. We're going to select both, control click, right click, align and distribute this way, and then align and distribute the other way. So now those two are one. Okay. Now it doesn't matter which one is which. We're just going to go ahead and select one, and we're going to turn it red because I just feel like it's easier to differentiate this way. But then back to our scale tool, and we need to make this 4 millimeters. So I typically would make my drawer sides 4 millimeters. So we're going to make it 4 millimeters smaller. So so we take this existing value and deduct 4 from that. So 2 would be 10. So this should be 108. Excuse me. Yeah, right. Should be 108, right? 112 minus 8. No, it should be 104. My bad. My math is off. 104. I knew something didn't seem right. And then same thing on our depth. We need to deduct 8 from the depth. So that should be 135. All right. So there we go. That's what it looks like. Now, when we're doing Boolean operations here in Bamboo, and really the same is true even in Tinkercad, it's a good rule not to have these two plates that we're cutting exactly at the same height. Sometimes that can mess up a Boolean operation. Now, what we need to do, though, is we need to lift the red box up. We need a 4 millimeter bottom to our box. This is all the same exact thing that we did in Tinkercad just a moment ago. But in order to raise our red box off our build plate, this has to be in an assembly, and it's not. So we're going to shift click both parts. You can see both parts are selected over here in the Objects tab. We're going to right click and merge. If you ever right click and merge or attempt to merge and you don't see merge as an option, it's because the parts that you thought you had selected aren't selected. And that happens quite often when we just use our shift key and to grab parts. Sometimes it doesn't grab all the parts. So that's why I glance over here. Yes, they're selected. We can right click over here even and click on merge. And then I can isolate just my red cube, come back to move, and I'm going to add 4 to this. So in this case, we're going to add 32. So now we've moved it up 4, and we've done 2 things. We've got a 4 millimeter plate now, and the red box is no longer on the same plane as the back box. So now we'll select that assembly and flip-flop those 2 and execute. And so there we go. There's our drawer. So then, of course, obviously, we would duplicate this and make 2 drawers. Let's go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and add. I want to just show you one other idea. And this is a good idea for you. This is me going beast mode without going beast mode. So this is a good concept for you from a design perspective, just a way to think outside the box maybe a little bit differently. And whether we're designing here in Bamboo Studio or we're designing in Inkscape, or even if we're designing in Silhouette in Tinkercad, what I'm about to show you can be done the same way in all the programs. So this might be just an interesting little thing for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click and we're going to add a cylinder. And we're going to hit scale. And I'm going to just stretch my cylinder out. In fact, I want my cylinder to be a specific width. I want it to be 75. So we're making a drawer handle. And 75 equates to 3 inches. There's 25 millimeters to an inch, roughly. It's really 25.4, but roughly 25 millimeters to an inch. So 75 millimeters will give us a 3-inch handle, which is pretty common in the industry for door handles, like on kitchen cabinets and whatnot. So that's about how I want it to be, something like that. And then we're going to just copy and paste it. So Control-C, Control-V, and we have to align these 2 back together. So Shift select them both. We're going to center them, that way and center them the other way. Now they're centered. And just like we did with the drawer, we're going to make one of them a little bit smaller. So we're going to go to the scale and let's go ahead and change the color. So as we scale it, we can see this a little bit better. Now we don't have to do this to any specific dimension. So we're just going to drag it in that way. And then we're going to drag it in this way. And we can drag this one in more than we do this one, right? So we can, we can play around with it a little bit. So you see what we got going on there? That's what we got going on. Now, I do need these in an assembly, which they are not currently. So let's go ahead and do that. Shift select them both, right click and merge. And then we're going to grab another cube. So right click, add a cube. And we're just going to put it over here, hit the S key to scale, and drag it out. Something like this. Now, I want to look at it from the top here. I'm just going to pull this in, and we're going to whack part of that off there. So we're going to do two things first. So we're going to grab our red cylinder, scale, and let's make it a little bit taller. So that's the first thing we're going to do. Just the red cylinder. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and cut. We're going to cut this black handle piece. So we'll go ahead and select this assembly, go to Mesh Boolean, flip-flop those two. The green is the cutter. The blue is what's to be cut. And now you see we have a hole. So now I'm going to take this piece and just pull it in a little bit. We'll scale it back just this direction. And we're going to whack that off there. Okay. So, but we're going to go ahead and control click both of these. When we do a Mesh Boolean, we need two pieces selected, but they don't necessarily have to be in an assembly to do it. So let's go ahead and I'm going to back up here a little bit because our cutter is roughly the same height as our handle, and we don't actually want that. So remember I said it's best practice to have it a little bit taller. So we're going to go ahead and raise it up. See there? So now there won't be any conflict there whatsoever. So we'll select this one, control click this one. Yeah.
Somebody's mic's open.
Let's see if we can find it here. Aha. Yours is open. That's who it was. There we go. Got it. All right. So now we're going to do a Mesh Boolean. And we have to flip-flop them because we want the cube to cut the handle and execute. We got issues. It didn't execute. And of course, we've run into this 1,000 times. So what we have to do is select both parts. And then we're going to fix the model. So now we should be able to do our Mesh Boolean. So anytime we're doing a Boolean operation and it doesn't do what we expect it to do, that's what you do. Fix the model and it should go ahead and take care of it. So now if we execute, there we go. There's part of our handle. Now I don't need it quite this thick. So let's go ahead and scale it down a little bit. And I don't know how thick, so I'm just going to do it by eye. We're not going to do it by amount. So we just take our blue cube, and let's just go ahead and scale it down, something like that. All right, we're going to get there, guys. We're going to get there. So next up, we're just going to go ahead and add a cube. We're going to hit scale, and we're going to drag it out. This is a good little exercise, I think, too, just in bamboo. Hey, could I make that little drawer handle that he was showing? Because it's kind of a fun project, and we kind of learned some different things along the way in doing this little project. So it might be a fun part just to see, hey, could I make that drawer handle? So we've drug out a cube, and this is our handle, but we want to spruce it up a little bit. So what we have to do is I want to take my handle and put it right on top of this cube. So to do that, we need to do an assembly, right? Because we know we can't move the handle off the build plate unless it's part of an assembly. So let's do that. So we have that piece selected, control click our cube, right click and merge. Now it's part of the assembly. Now, I don't know where this is sitting in relationship to this. So we're just going to select our assembly, go to our assembly tool, and we're going to click this face, make sure we are on face-to-face assembly. So we click the top, and then we come underneath, because I want the bottom of my handle to be at that same level. And we'll just go ahead and hit 0. And now our handle is exactly, the bottom of our handle is exactly on the same plane as my cube. And you say, well, what in the world are we doing that for? Well, let me show you. So we're going to go ahead and alt-click our handle and rotate. Now, there's no magic number here. You're just going to have to play with it. But it's a pretty steep angle that we're going to go with. Something like that. Okay? And then we're going to alt-click our handle again to isolate that. And we're just going to move it in. Let's give our handle a different color so we could see the interaction a little bit better. And we're just going to pull this down. So you see how our handle is now interacting with our cube? So we're just going to pull it out just a little bit. I want that just to be a little bit thicker. And that's looking pretty good. We got that pretty quick. I fiddled with it earlier. But now we can go into our mesh boolean. And yes, the cutter is going to be our cube. And then we have our handle. Let's go ahead and execute. And look at our fancy little handle. So now we can go ahead and lay that down. So we'll use lay on face. Boom. And that's going to print. And that looks like an old school kitchen handle, right? So, and then of course we can do the exact same thing that Maya was showing, where she cut a little hole in the front of the drawer, and then we can glue our handle on and go on from there. So that is how we accomplish that in Bamboo Studio. But like I say, the steps involved are virtually identical to what we just did in Tinkercad. I still think it's easier to draw it all out in Inkscape, marginally. I would say marginally easier to draw it all out in Inkscape and then extrude the parts like we had done in a previous class. But if you prefer this method, it's a good practice to understand a little bit more about working with the slicer. Any questions, comments, anything?
All right, am I up next?
I'm doing the front of Buzz.
Oh, right. That's right. I closed. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right. So let me save this. So you guys will have this finished product that you can continue to experiment with a little bit. So we'll save this project. And now we're going to get to the real meat and potatoes of bringing Buzz to life. So we're going to call this drawer box, something like that. And we will create a new project. All right, now guys, this one you're really gonna have to pay attention to because there's a lot of moving parts. But we're gonna try and take it slow, but we don't want to keep you here all night. So it is kind of an intensive little project, but one I think you can absolutely get through. Just take it step by step, and I think it will all work out. Let me find our file where we left off. So that is in class files this, and let's see, let's go to large icons and find Buzz. Is that Buzz right there? Buzz bank plate number 1. I believe that is Buzz. So yes, let's pick that up. Now, this file you're going to get stage 1, right? So you're going to get this exact same file as a starting point. I really would like you guys to just get plate 1 done, right? And again, if you remember back to the previous class, if you didn't see it, it is available on YouTube, our previous class on this. Take the SVG, right? Let me see what it's called here real quick for you. So what is that SVG called? Let me look. It is right here. Buzz SVG Starter Build Plate 1. So if you take that SVG, that's going to get you up to this point right here, this first build plate. Okay. Now you do have to go. In fact, I'll put it in the class file, so you don't have to go to Patreon to get it. But we do need our plug, right? But so this is already made for you. But I'll put it in the class file, so you don't have to get it off of Patreon. But the rest of this, if you take that finished SVG that we made in Inkscape and see if you can make this, it's only a couple pieces, and then we have to do a mesh boolean for our slot, for our coin slot, and then we have to use our plug cutter to put the hole in the back for this plug to work. So this should be a really simple, basic project for you to do in Bamboo and just dip your toe in and understanding Bamboo a little bit more. And we really encourage you to do it. And some of you probably know about the special giveaway that 3D Trendsetters is doing. So if you submit your homework, just this one piece right here, we're not expecting everything, just that one piece even, or the little puppy, right? Or any project that you see on the YouTube channel that you want to submit, just say, hey, I did this, I followed the instructions, and this is what I came up with. Whether you're going to do it in Bamboo or Inkscape or Tinker or Silhouette, however you decide to do it, it's entirely up to you. But they're going to have a weekly giveaway for those who submit their homework. So you might as well participate because there's some cool stuff. So anyhow, that's how to get to this point. I am going to go ahead and just delete this for those that don't remember or weren't here last week. Now what? Now what do? We've got this accomplished. What's our next step? Our next step is not learning Inkscape. Our next step is stay right here. We still got to finish this off. We've got to finish Buzz. So let's go ahead and hit Control-I. And what we're going to pull in, we are in the right folder here, is, let me find him. Where did he go? That's the Buzz Starter. I thought we had a separate one for build plate 2. That's build plate 1. Maybe we didn't make a build plate 2. That's okay. We'll make a build plate 2 right now. So you're going to have a separate SVG for build plate 2. So this is just the regular one. This has got all the pieces to it. So we're going to go ahead and make it. I will fix that so it's just for build plate 2. But this is the back plate, which we also need for our build plate 2, which is our front plate. So those are our green pieces, our white, our red stripes, our purple wings, our head, our face details, our eyebrows, our mouth, our base for the sign. There's the backdrop for Y, the fill for Y, backdrop for O, the fill for O, story, the T, the fill for T, the middle of our O, and our sides. So we don't need the sides for the front plate. So we can get rid of that for sure. And let's see here. Where were we? I'm going to add somebody real quick. All right. So story, T, the O, And okay, so this is our flange, okay? And we do need the flange for the front plate. So and like I said, it'll say Buzz Starter Build Plate 2 that we're going to import in here. And really, I think all we did was delete the sides, as it turns out. So it's just that one piece that has to be deleted anyhow. But we do need our flange. So we'll go ahead and name this because now we know that as our flange. So we might as well go ahead and name it. Okay. And our flange has to be, well, you can have it whatever you want it to be, but I always make it 12 millimeters. I don't know why, but I do. So we'll go ahead and make it 12. And then what we're going to do is, because the flange is ultimately going to be printed separately, we're going to go ahead and add a new build plate. And we're going to take this whole kit and caboodle here, copy and paste it to the new build plate. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to select everything but the flange. And the flange happens to be the last piece. See, it says flange. So select everything but the flange and delete. Goodbye. This is going to print on a separate build plate. And the reason that we're going to print that on a separate build plate is because we're trying to do this without requiring supports. Okay, supports take time to print and sometimes leave ugly remnants behind and use filament. So there's good reason to print things separately. So that's what we're going to try and do. So back over here, the flange, so we're going to click on this assembly. A little trick, we don't have the ability to hide objects. Now, if there's one thing about the Creality print slicer that I really like, is we do have the ability to click the visibility. It's like right over here, and we can click the visibility of a piece on and off. And I so wish we had that functionality here in Bamboo, and maybe someday we will, but we don't right now. So how do we get rid of our flange without getting rid of our flange? Well, what we do is come down here to flange, and we use our XY position. So we go to our move tool, and we're just going to get it out of our way. So here in the Y position here, instead of this 328, let's just go ahead, or 128 rather, let's go ahead and make it 328. So it's still there, right? But at least it's out of our way. So we can put that back when we need it here in a moment. So what we want to do here is, I think the smart thing to do here, because there's a lot of moving pieces, is to go ahead and name all of our pieces. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to click right here, and we're just going to call this back. And then what's our next piece? Those are our green wings. This is not entirely necessary, obviously. White wings. But I think it will definitely help us. This is our red stripes. Especially when we revisit this file later, 3 months from now, we want to print it out, we'll know what's what here. So these are our purple wings. And this is our head. And our face. And our black details of black, let's call it black face details. And those are our eyebrows. And that is our teeth. And then that is our sign base. I think that's what that's called. And then that is our Y back. And then we have our Y fill. And then we have our O back. And the reason we have so many parts is because we want to do something kind of special in building this model. We want it to have lots of depth. And so we have to have all these parts, because each one of these parts is going to be a slightly different depth to it. So that's what we're trying to accomplish here. So this is our O fill. And then we have our story text. And then we have our T back. Our T fill. And then this is our O. Just leave it at our O piece. I don't know exactly if we're even going to use that piece. And then we have our flange. Okay, so step 1 is complete. We have all of our parts named. Now, I think we should do is go back and set the color of all of our parts. And this is true like of every model that I make. It's kind of this process. We name it, we change the color, we change the thicknesses of all of our parts, then we assemble. So our back here is going to be black. The green wings need to be green. And let's see, I believe that is color 4. And then our white is going to be 2. And then our red stripes, we don't have red. So let's go ahead and we'll add a few filament colors. Now we have red. There's 8. So now this can be 8. And then we have our purple wings. So let's go ahead and make those 9. That's a purpley color. And our head needs to be, that's purple as well, actually. So that's 9. But the face needs to be more face-like. So where is it at? It's up here somewhere. Let's see here. More skinny. Let's go with that. Good enough. 10. So we'll click on our face piece and hit 10. And there's our face. Black face details, of course, are black. And then we will go with brown. So we're going to go ahead and make our eyebrows brown. Now, we're using lots of colors, and that's okay. Well, how we're going to put this together, it's not going to matter. So no need to panic. Teeth, our sign base is going to be red. Our Y back, that's going to be like a blue, which is, I think we're going to use color 3 for that. So we'll do, and then our fill, let's go ahead and let's add another color. And let's make that color yellow. And so our Y fill here is going to be 1, 3, yellow. And then our O back is going to be 3, I believe is what we used. And then the fill, of course, is going to be 1, 3. And then story is going to be 1, 3. And then our T back is going to be 3. Our T fill is going to be 1, 3. And then the O, I'm not sure what that's going to be. Let's make it yellow. Don't know if we're going to use it, but we'll put it in there. And our flange. Okay. So now, just for funsies, will it let us? I don't think it's going to let us slice because we have our flange as part of this assembly. So because our flange is outside the build plate, it won't let us slice. But if we did slice it, this would all come out just fine. So that is an option for you. You could print this face down if you didn't want all of the different depth to it. I think the depth part of it is what makes it look cool. So I do think I'm going to go ahead and select this. And I do think I want my piggy bank to have white sides. We'll change our cube to white as well. And then therefore, over here, we're going to go to our back and change it to white as well. I just think this will pop better on white than it does black. Okay, so now this is the part, this is the fun part where we don't know exactly what we're doing, but we can always modify it and change it. So we're just going to kind of guess for right now. And I have a good idea of how I might want to build this. So what we're going to do is change the thicknesses of things. So we're going to start here with our back, go to our scale tool, and we want that to be 4 millimeters thick. That, when I say the back, that's actually the front plate. That's going to be our front plate, 4 millimeters thick. Now, I want the front plate to print on the build plate. So to do that, we have to go to the move tool, and this value has to be 2. It's half of 4. That's how this works. So when we're talking about X, Y's, and Z's, that's how it works. The X, Y, and Z is to the center of the shape. So in this case, the back piece was 4 millimeters thick. Half of 4 is 2. And so therefore, that is the Z value to be used. Now let's go on to the wings. The wings are just going to be 1 millimeter thick. So we'll come up here to the scale tool and set those to 1. Now we do want to be mindful that we do not have uniform scale selected in these cases. 1. So now that the wings are 1, half of 1 is 0.5, 0.5 of a millimeter. So the Z value, the way we calculate this, and we don't have to calculate it, I am going to show you a way where you can set all your Z distances without understanding numbers, okay? But I do still want you to understand how the numbers are created, so that I feel like it's easier if we do know the numbers. So the way this works, in order to determine your Z value, is you take the thickness of your object, divide it by 2, and add it to whatever you want to put the plate on, which in this case, we want to put it on the white plate. The white plate's 4. The object is 1. Half of 1 is 0.5. So therefore, the Z value should be 4.5. Okay? Now, if we look at it currently, you see it's floating. Okay? So if we go to the move tool and we set that Z distance to 4.5, now you see our green bit is sitting directly on top of our white plate, and that's what we want. Okay? So now we can just keep moving on. The white wings, we're going to do those 1 millimeter thick. So we go to scale in 1. And it's not necessarily a terrible idea. Sometimes it can get real confusing because we're talking about the Z distance in scale, and we're talking about the Z distance in the move tool. And sometimes it can get real confusing because the two menus look somewhat similar, right? So sometimes what I'll do is just go ahead and change all my thicknesses right here, right now, as far as the thicknesses of the parts itself, and then go back and change the Z height as it relates to the different Z heights in the model. So let's go ahead and do that, I think. Let's just go ahead and run through all the thicknesses of our parts. So the red stripes, so the white wings, those are 1. Our red stripes, let's just do, I don't know, 1.5. Let's just be special. Make those 1.5. Our purple wings, those are going to be 1. The head, Buzz's head, I want to stick out above his wings. So I'm not maybe that much, maybe just 4 millimeters. And then the face, we'll go ahead and make 1 millimeter. And then the black face details, let's go ahead and make those 1 millimeter. And then the eyebrows, we'll go ahead and make those 1 millimeter. The teeth, we go ahead and make those 1 millimeter. If we're dealing with parts like we're dealing with them, and we know certain parts are going to be the same thickness, we can just come in here and select all of the parts, just control click. So we select one part and then control click the other parts that we know are going to be the same thickness, and we can change the thickness of them all at one time. So you don't have to do it bit by bit. But I'm just doing that just to kind of overemphasize the point here. So the face, black face details, the eyebrows, the teeth, our sign base. That's the first big question mark. How thick and rich do we want that sign base to be? Well, I think I want that to be, let's make it 12 for now. I don't know if we're really going to go that thick, but let's just do 12 for now. And then let's go and jump ahead to the story text. And let's set that at 2. Now, we've got that set to 2. I want to go ahead and put that on the sign, but I want to talk about the math, okay? So the bottom plate we know is 4, and I already forgot what I set that to be. That's 12, okay? So this is how the math goes. 4 plus 12, right? That's 16. Plus the story text is 2. Half of 2 is 1. So the final Z height of story becomes 17. Okay. Now, we have to make sure that the Z height of our red piece is correct first. So I remember I promised you I would not make you do math if you choose not to do math. So let me show you what to do if you don't care or understand the calculations. We have to put the red piece directly on top of the white. So if we were in Tinker, what we would do is we would set a work plane right on top of the white, right? And then we could drop this red piece on top of the work plane. Well, that's kind of sort of what we're going to do here in Bamboo. So we all click the red, go to move, and we're just going to move this an arbitrary amount. It doesn't matter really how much we move this, but we're just going to move it an arbitrary amount, something like that. Okay, we just need it up out of our way. Select the assembly, go to the assembly tool, and set your work plane. This is your work plane right here, this face. And then we're going to drop this to the work plane by clicking the bottom of that face and hitting 0. Zero that value out. And there you go. Now our red piece is sitting directly on top of the white piece. Now let's talk about the calculations and see if I'm right. So the red piece is 12, right? So we remember that. So the red piece is 12. So, and the white piece is 4. So half of 12 is 6 plus 4. This Z should be 10. So if we come up here to the move tool, you can see, there you go. The Z is actually 10. So you don't have to understand the math if you don't want to. It's perfectly fine. You could just use the assembly tool and assemble everything that way. All right. So now we've got to grab our story text. And if you remember, we already calculated the story text to be at 17. So we're going to go to the move tool. The Z height for story is 17. Now, just a reminder, how did we get to 17? We have 4, we have 12, that's 16. We have 2 thickness on story. Half of 2 is 1. That's where we get 17. Fair as mud? So now, actually, that I started building this, I realized I kind of sort of messed up. And the reason I messed up is that the this Y, this blue outline on the Y, is supposed to sit on top of our red sign. That's how the original image was. So what does that mean for us? That means we have our red plate way too thick, but we have good practice this way. So we just alt-click our red plate here. Let's make that 3, which is what it's supposed to be. My bad. And then we're going to change our Z height, right? So 4 and 3, half of 3 is 1.5. That makes this 5.5. You're going to get good at math. You're going to get good at math. Even if you hated it in school, you're going to get good at it. All right, so there you go. So now our red plate is now sitting back on top of our white plate. Now, just to reemphasize what we're going to do on the assembly tool, for those that don't want to use numbers, we can go to the assembly tool, set our work plane, come under there. We're going to click on this back face and 0 that out. And now you can see everything is nice and flush. And so now you can see how this is now sitting proud of the red like it's supposed to. So there we go. All right. So now let me think about what we got to do from here. I'll click this, remind my brain what we did here. Okay. So we have our Y background. We're just going to leave that alone. This is 10 millimeters thick. And we don't need it that thick, but we need to calculate exactly how thick we do need it. So by default, this comes in at 10 mil thick, and we want this to sit on top of our white plate. So what we're going to do is figure out where it exists right now. I think it's a little bit thick as it is, but let's see where it's at in the Z. I want to know where this face is. Where is that? So we select that piece by alt-clicking just that piece, and then we can alt-click our plate, and then when you come to the scale tool, it will tell us how thick those two are. So that's currently at 11. Okay, that the top of that blue plate is at 11, and it doesn't need to be that thick. So I want to put it on. I want to take this blue piece and put it on the white. Number 1. That's the first step I want to do. So let's go ahead and alt-click it, and let's move it in the Z here. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and use the assembly tool. But this is too thick. I already know that. So I'm going to take off 7. So do I want to make that 3? If this is, how thick is this? This will help us out. How thick is that? So we need just this red piece. I forgot how thick we made that. Let's look. We made that 3. Okay. So then I want this to be 5. I want this piece to be 5. So let's go ahead and make it 5. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and use the assembly tool to put it on that white plate. So we'll select the whole assembly, set our work plane, come underneath, set that to 0. And you see I accidentally clicked on the wrong one. So let me just back up there. Accidentally clicked on the wrong one. I don't know what I did there. So that is not right. So let's see how thick that is. So now we're back to being 10 thick, and no, we want it to be 5 thick. Let's go to our move tool. I think I backed up too much. So we're going to go back to our move tool here. I'll tell you what, let's just do it by math. It's just as easy. So half of 5 is 2.5, sitting on top of 4. So that needs to be at 6.5. And it already is. Perfect. That works. So that should be at 6.5. The fill for Y, so let's come over here. So where is our Y fill? There's our Y fill, 2. We'll make that 2 millimeters thick, and it's going to sit on top of blue. And we know blue is sitting at 9 now, right? Because it's 5 and 4, 9. So this is going to be 10 on the Z. So now you can kind of see how this is all going to come together. All right. So this was 5. So this, the next one on the O, we're going to make it 6. So it's going to be 6. Okay. Half of 6 is 3 plus 4. That's going to be 7 in the Z. And then we can go on to the O fill and do the same thing here. So the O fill is going to be 2, back to scale, 2 thick. And now we know that this is sitting at 10. So the O fill needs to be at 11. Like so. Now this piece here, let's just go ahead and make it color number 3. I'm not sure. I think that is what it's supposed to be. So we're going to run with it just like that. So you can see that this O is slightly above this. And this one was 5, this one was 6. So T is going to be 7. Just one more on the thickness. Okay. And so half of 7, of course, is 3.5 plus 4. So the Z height needs to be 6.5. That makes sense? 4, yep, 3.5. So this has to be at, that really should be, why does that not make sense? That should be 7, not 6.5. 4, 7, half of 7 is still 3.5. I don't know. I guess it is 6.5. Doesn't make sense though to me. So this thickness here is 7, but maybe, no, that has to be 8. Because those two are on the same plane. Yes. So that thickness has to be 8 because I want it 1 thicker. Just a little bit thicker. Now, and then this, if we put that at 7, now that is 1 thick. So it's kind of a step down effect. So yes, that's what we're looking for. All right, so T-fill, and that is going to be 2 thick. So we're on, got to be on scale, 2 thick. And so now we have to figure out where our height is. And so rather than get lost, let's do this. Let's go to the move tool and let's just move it up in the Z to like 50, right? And then we can use our assembly tool to assemble it. So there's our work plane. There's our bottom, and zero this out. So you can see slowly but surely, we're almost there, guys. We're almost there. We have to fill out our face here for Buzz, and then we'll be right there. Okay. Now we have to also change the height of some of these other parts that we didn't already set the height to. We set their thicknesses, but we didn't set their Z heights properly. So, for example, our green here, we'll all click the green. That is 1. So the Z height for that should be 4.5, which that is. Okay. And then let's see here. What else we got? Does that got the right Z height? It does not. So that should be at 4.5 because that too is 1. And then likewise on the white, I'll click the white piece here. That should be is 1. So that should be at 4.5 as well. And now this is a little bit different. Our red stripes, let's go ahead and I'll click our red stripes and take a look at the thickness. They're at 1.5. Half of 1.5 is 0.75 of a millimeter plus 4. So that height has to be 4.75. And I deliberately, just for fun, made those just a touch, 1/4 of a millimeter deeper, just because I thought it would add some visual interest. Okay. Now, what about Buzz's face? I think I maybe want it to stick out some more. Let me look at this. We can't stick it out too much more because we don't want it in front of that. Maybe we'll leave it the way it is. That's fine. Okay, so let's make sure it's in the proper Z height though. So we're going to all click this, and remember it was 4. So what should the Z height be? Indeed, 6. Half of 4 is 2 plus 4 of the white. So that is 6. So now we have to find the face right here, Buzz's face. That is 1 millimeter. So that is 4 and 4 is 8. So that should be 8.5. So there we go. There's his face. So now we're going to come down to his black face details. Okay, so this is where we're going to venture off just a little bit. So black face details. First of all, it's brown. It needs to be black. So let's change that. 1. There we go. This way we're going to do something a little bit different. So for the Z height, this is 4, the white plate. His head is 4, and this is 1. So 4, 4, and 1, that gives us 9. And so if we want these black details to sit directly on his face, and those are 1, then our value should be at 9.5. But we're not going to do that. We're going to set it at 9. Let's see how this works out. And then I can explain why. Why are we doing that? Okay, so this is what I want. When we're dealing with real thin pieces, you know, it looks huge on screen, but this is ultimately a really thin piece. What I would prefer to do on thin pieces like this is embed them rather than have them sit directly on top of the other color. So we're going to all click this and you'll see what I'm talking about. You see that shadow right there? Okay, that is inside the face, right? So what that does is that kind of holds on to this real thin piece so it won't just, boom, flake off. So that's why we do it on real thin pieces like that. That's why we embed it like that. Now, when we did all this, look what would happen right here. And I do not like that. You see that right there? We have a conflict there. So what we can do just to fix this conflict, we could either make his head slightly thinner, or we can make our Y slightly thicker. So we have a step down right there, like we really need. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and take our head here, and let's go ahead and make it 3 instead of 4. That's going to change our Z height though. So half of 3 is 1.5. So our Z height should be 5.5. Okay. And then we have our face. We got to put our face on top of that. So 4 and 3 is 7. Our face is 1. So this has to be 7.5 instead of 8.5. And now we have our separation there. Okay. So just a little bit of extra work. And so that's at 8.5. So we know our eye details then have to be at 8. See? Little simple things. And this is why it's important that we understand bamboo, because we could have planned all this out in Tinkercad, and then we get over here and realize that, shoot, we made a mistake. So then we can adjust Z values when we get over here, but we have to know how to adjust those Z values. So there you go. All right. So I believe, did we get it? Did we make it to the end? Almost. Almost we made it. We have his teeth. Got his teeth. And his eyebrows. So eyebrows, those are 1. So remember, those are going to be at 8. Those are easy to remember. And the teeth is 1, and those have to be at 8 as well. And those have to be at 8 because they're going to sit flush with our black. So there we go. So now, do we have it all? We have it all, folks. We have it all. All right. So that becomes the front plate of our piggy bank. Now, we're not quite out of the woods just yet, but we're really close. We're really close. What we have to do is we have to take our flange, and we got to cut a hole in the back of our front plate. And we're going to cut a hole so we know exactly where to position this flange when we glue it to the back plate. So you see here, when we print this, everything's going to print in layers. So let's just go ahead and, we can't slice it yet because our flange is sitting out here in no man's land. But we're going to get there. We'll show you what it slices up like. And then we have to build our build plates. But that part seems complicated, but it won't be. So anyhow, we have to move this back into position. So let's do it. Let's alt-click this and move it back into position. So remember, we moved it to 328. We're just going to set that to 128. Back into position. Okay? So there we go. Now, this flange is sitting on the build plate. All right? And let's verify that. So we're going to just alt-click on the flange. This is going to be important that we see this. So we're going to alt-click on the flange and go to the Move tool, and you can see that its Z height is 6. Its thickness is 12, and the Z height is 6. So that means it's sitting on the build plate, and that's what we need it to be. We need it to be sitting on the build plate. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our front plate, and we're going to move it. So we're going to select everything but the flange. The flange we're going to leave alone. So come over here to your objects and come all the way down. Shift click everything. So now everything but the flange is selected, and we're going to move it up. We're going to move it up 10. So we go to the Move tool, and in the Z height, we're going to move it up to 10 to whatever it says it is. We just add 10 to it. So that would be 16.5. Okay. Now, why 16.5? Why 10? Well, here's why. Our flange is 12. We moved it up 10, which means our flange is sitting pretty. Let me show you. See if I can show you this. It's sitting pretty inside our front plate. See that shadow right there? It's sitting inside the front plate. And so what we want to do is we want to cut a groove 2 millimeters deep inside our front plate, right? Because eventually our flange is going to kind of snap into that groove. So let's see if it does it. Remember, we have issues sometimes with booleans. Sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. So we'll select our assembly and let's go ahead and do the boolean. Push everything over to the right. Everything goes to the right. Come down the list. I don't know if you can see this, but there's a very light blue color where flange, it's white. If we click on back, now you see it's not blue anymore. And if we click on flange, now you can see not only is it selected here, but it's also highlighted in this kind of bluish color. And now we can move it over here, and now it turns green. Green is our cutter. Blue is what's going to be cut. we are going to keep the originals, and we're going to execute and keep our fingers crossed. Okay, now that happened awfully quick. Sometimes that's not a good indicator. So anyhow, we're going to alt-click our flange and move it away, and sure as Nancy, it did not cut. Usually when it goes that quickly, that's a good indicator it ain't going to do nothing. So what do? Right-click and fix our model. Now, this is not a very triangle-intensive model, so it should blaze through this fairly quickly. All right, so now back to alt-clicking our flange. Or actually, we don't even need to do that. We just need to click our whole assembly and go to Mesh Boolean, push everything over, come down, bring over our flange. There we go. That's the only green object. And we do want to keep the originals again and execute. That took a little bit longer. And if we alt-click this, ta-da, there's a groove. Stella got her groove back. Okay, so that's what we needed. So now let's go ahead and set up our print plates. And this bad boy is going to be done. This is a intense model. You know, there's lots of colors, but this is the promised land. If you can eventually get to this point, then there's really nothing you can't do. You can create all kinds of cool stuff. So let's go ahead and I don't know how many build plates we have. They don't cost anything, so you might as well add bunches of them. All right, so we have our flange over here. So really, we don't need this flange. So I do want to change this flange to white, though. And then this flange goes bye-bye. So alt-click and delete. You don't need that flange anymore. Now, this one is floating in midair, but as soon as we try to move it, it'll come crashing down to the build plate because our flange is no longer there to hold it up. So here's what I like to do. I like to leave the original just like it is. So we always can refer back if we ever get lost in this process of creating our build plates. If we ever get lost, we always have our original we can go back to. So we're going to just copy, click on this build plate, paste. Click on this one, paste. Click on this one, paste. Click on this one, paste. Again, I'm not really sure how many buzzes we're going to need, but we're going to start there. I believe that's the proper number. So now we're just going to come in here. You can see we have all these colors. That's not going to work very well, right? Unless we're blessed with multiple AMSs, which most of us aren't. So we have to figure out, well, what color are we printing on plate 1? So we can print white, red, yellow, and let's do, let me think this through a second. Yeah, let's do white, red, yellow, and we'll do blue. Okay, so that's what we're going to do on plate 1. So I think the easiest thing to do is just select the bits. Actually, we're gonna print that blue, so we can print toy. So we can't print green. We can't print purple. We can delete those two. We can't print this purple, so we can delete that. And all I'm doing is alt-clicking. We can't print our face. We can't print our face details here. So I'll click on those. And we can't print our eyebrows. Ta-da. At first plate, we can print all of that, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not sure where we're getting our 5th color from. Let's look. Maybe we have 2 different whites.
So that's because they're separate objects. They're not merged together, basically.
Oh, no.
So when it slices, it's still going to be one white.
Yeah, see, the reason that we have 2, the reason why we have 5 colors is because the teeth we had defined as 2 white, but we actually have white defined twice. So if we alt click our back plate, it's defined as 12. So if we just come in here and do this one to 2, now we have our 4 colors on our one plate. So that's just something to be mindful of. Sometimes that tricks us up. We have extra colors that we didn't really intend. So that's our first step, okay? That's our first plate. So now we can move on down here. So now probably the easiest thing to do is to get rid of all of these parts on our next plate. So for example, we know we don't need this one and this one, delete. And all I'm doing is alt clicking, delete. Alt click T, O, and Y, and the outline, outline, and outline, delete. Alt click, delete. Okay. So now we don't need the white here or the red, delete. And then let's see here. What do we need? We don't, let me think here. So we are down to 5 colors. So, oh yeah, we don't need the teeth because we already got the teeth printed. So we're gonna go ahead and delete that. Now we do have a problem. We do actually have a problem because of the way the teeth, we left the teeth over here on this first plate and we shouldn't have. Those are printing in midair because remember the teeth are sitting on top of the face. So we got to get rid of those. Okay, no problem. We'll fix that later. So there we are. So now we're down to 4 colors. And then we can, once we get that printed out, boom, we can set that right in place. Okay. So now, what else do we need? We need our face. Can't have a faceless Buzz. How did we do that? That's really strange. I thought we had more build plates last time when we did this. So
We
yeah,
did. We did. It's okay.
All right. So I'm going to back up, and I'm going to back up one more time. So what we're going to do is we're going to just take his teeth, because we can't have 5 colors. So what we're going to do is this. We're just going to go ahead and take this assembly, copy and paste it, and we're going to delete everything but his teeth. So come over here, and there's his teeth and everything else. I'm just control clicking, and goodbye. So now we just have his teeth. So now what we're going to do is take his teeth and put it on this build plate. This build plate already has white. So then we can go ahead and get rid of this. And I believe we now have all of the pieces accounted for. So we need to print this build plate, and then we need to print this build plate, and that's it. We don't need these. Bye. Goodbye. And then we can go ahead and get rid of our extra build plates that we don't need. Yes, we'll print that. We have to put our teeth, glue our teeth onto this plate when we get there, but otherwise everything else is accounted for. So then all we need to do, now there was one other thing in regards to this flange. We made a slot on the back side of our plate. It might be helpful to take our flange and have a little adjustment in the XY compensation. So if we're here on our objects tab and we have our flange selected, we'll go to the quality tab, and we're just going to make this just a touch smaller right here. XY contour, let's just make it a touch smaller, -0.3. So what that will do is this flange was 2 millimeter thick. So now it's just going to be slightly less. So our channel is 2 millimeters thick. And this is going to be slightly less, so it'll fit right in there, glue it right into place. And then ultimately, boom, it'll put on, we're going to glue this flange with this on top of our piggy bank, and the only way in and out will be that hole. Okay. Whew, we got through it. And if you don't have to use this elaborate of beginning point. Maya is going to show you a more simplified version that you'll have the SVG for, and you should be able to blaze through her more simplified version a lot easier. Whether you choose to do it entirely here in Bamboo, or if you do use Tinkercad for the whole thing. Now, one thing just to kind of keep in mind when she gets into this, essentially what she's going to do is she's going to build this front plate, right? And then she's just going to put a simple box on the backside. Well, if you think about it, that box on the backside is exactly what we already did in Tinkercad for the Vanity. So we're going to do something very similar, where we're just going to create a box and hollow it out, and then we're going to add this hole in it to make the piggy bank. So hopefully it'll all come together, and it'll all make sense when she shows you that. So let's go ahead and save this. So we're going to hit File, Project Save As, the Completed Buzz. So we'll just call it Completed Buzz Piggy Bank. My idea for the whole reason that I wanted to do this particular project was, and I think I mentioned it in last class, was the concept of this file. It was purchased on Etsy, okay, and it was like $2 or $3. It wasn't very much money, but it came with the full Toy Story font in individual letters. So the idea is we could change story. It came with both fonts, full font, and we could change out the name. Like if you're going to make this for a kid, you could change out the name, and then instead of toy here, you could do like the number 5, if it was 5th birthday or something. I thought that might be kind of cute. So that's the idea. Customization, you guys already know, customization sells. So if we are comfortable with making those customizations, then we could do some cool stuff. And if you go on Maker World, guess what? You're not going to find that. So it's a good way for you to stand out if you can figure out how to make these customized files. Any questions before we turn it over to the queen, the Tinkercad queen? No questions.
I know it was a lot. It's okay. And originally, my portion of this, like I said, I had got it down into 15 pieces, and it was still a lot. So I was able to get it down. I'll pivot from it in 4 pieces. It's 10 o'clock, so I'm going to be real quick, but I just want to be able to give you guys the basics of how to accomplish doing a piggy bank inside Tinkercad and bringing it into Bamboo. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And if you are on the Patreon, the SVG is there that we are using for this demonstration. All right. Okay. So if you are in Kev's Patreon, if you type in the search right here and type in plug, the plug piece that you need for the bank will be right in there for you.
And I will go ahead and include that in the class files. So so if you want to get started, sure, go ahead and download it, but otherwise it will be in your class files.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and open up. We do got to go inside of Silhouette first. I forgot about that. We going to Silhouette. All right. So I just want to come over here, select auto on my page size. And then we're going to click on file. Let's click on merge. And I'm going to go to desktop and get, where's my image? Right here. All right. I'm going to open that up. I'm going to highlight all of it. I'm going to drag my mouse cursor over all of it and just move it down just a little bit. Now, we're going to have to do some work and clean this a little bit because we're not using the whole image. So let's go ahead and start. Let's start with moving the hat. So you can just grab the pieces like that and just highlight them and delete them. Just highlight them and delete them because we don't need them. We're not using them. Delete, delete, delete. And this is where I'm jealous of Kev at, right? A little bit because he has a layer panel. He has a layer panel where he can turn his layers on and off and different things of that nature.
You could too.
So, all right. So then I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit because I'm going to come down here and clean up. So I don't want this offset, this shadow, the black one. So I'm just going to move it, delete, come over here, go back. If you do that, and just come over here. So you grab the Y, the black Y. I'm right here. And just delete. We're going to do the same thing for this black shadow. Delete and get the black O. Delete. So now we done cleaned our image up. Okay. So you can zoom back out. And you can go ahead and highlight it and you can check your size right here. So now this is where you want to go ahead and size your piece at. I make sure I size my pieces over here. I don't like sizing my pieces in Tinker. So you basically just gonna size it to your liking, y'all. I don't have no specific measurements. I just know that my build plate can handle it. So, I'm gonna size it. So I probably do about like 7.5 and a little over 6 tall. And once you have that to your liking, right? I'm gonna, instead of creating an offset, I have gotten a habit into using this rounded rectangle now. I'm just gonna come over here and just do just like that. And then I'm gonna uncheck it. And then I'm gonna come and I'm gonna click on it and we're gonna go ahead and size it in the middle. Size it in the middle of the page. And then, like I said, if if it's sized to your liking, your printer can handle the size. I'm gonna just go down just a little bit here, over here, and then I'm gonna just come up a little here. I'm gonna go in just a little there, and just a little here. Okay, so now once you have that size to your liking, and you can use the same technique you can use to make like those money saving boxes, anything, like it's gonna all be the same, guys. So once you got your image the way you like it, now we can actually go ahead and click on story, and we're gonna group story together. We're gonna bring story in as one piece. So right click, we are going to group that together. All right. And then let's go ahead and start exporting. So we're going to click on our outline, our box, our main box, click on file, save selection, save to hard drive, SVG. And I'm going to click on, I guess that's my folder right there, is it? I'm going to click on bank. That's going to be my folder. I'm going to use, what am I going to say? All right, let's do toy back. I'm going to say 23 because I already got some in here. So I'm going to just put toy back 23, but I'm going to do toy back white 23. All right. And then I'm going to click backspace. That piece is gone. Then now I'm going to click on the red. I want to bring the red in. So click on file, save selection, save to hard drive, SVG. Then we're going to call this red plate. Let's say red plate 24. Red plate 24. Backspace. We're going to click on story, file, save selection, save to hard drive, SVG, and we're going to type, I'm going to say story word 25. And then you can say, or story word yellow, or story yellow word, whatever, however. Yellow word 25. Let's click OK. We're going back out. Next, I want the blue. So I'm going to grab all these letters are individual. And if you notice, I didn't group these together. And the reason why I didn't group them together, because as you can see, they are layered. They're different sizes. One's on top of the other in a different way. So, and then the O, the blue circle of the O sits on top. So I didn't want to group these together. I wanted to be able to, manipulate them like I wanted to. So that's why I didn't group these. So you're just going to come in here and we're going to click on the T, hold down the shift key, grab the outline blue, and grab the outline Y, okay? That's all I want you to grab. Don't grab no other part of the blue, just those three pieces. The T, the outside of the O, and the Y. And it's a reason why we're doing it this way. And then we're going to click on SVG, and we're going to say toy blue. What number were we at? 25. So let's go ahead and do 26. Toy blue 26. All right. Click OK. Backspace. That's gone. Now, let's go ahead and click on the yellow T, the yellow O, and the yellow Y. All right. Click on File. Click on Save Selection. Save to hard drive. SVG. We're going to call this Toy Yellow. Toy Yellow 27. Okay. Bam. Get backspace, get rid of that. The last piece we have is this blue O. We're going to go to File, Save Selection, Save to Hard Drive, SVG, and we're going to call this OOO Blue Top. And this was, where was we just at? 27. This is going to be 28. So click Save. Backspace, we're done. Inside Silhouette. So now we're going to come and open up a Tinker. And we're going to go create 3D design. We're going to go to import, choose file. Let's go to the desktop, get our bank, and we started at 23. So let's go and bring in number 23, import. All right. So we know that A1 build plate is 256. So we do know that this will fit a minimum of an A1 build plate. So let's go ahead and take our quality up. We're going to go ahead and turn that to white. You can click on your presets. Let's go ahead and get us a work plane. Drop that down. Let's go to import, and we're going to bring in number 24. So let's get 24, which is going to be the red plate. Import. Let's click on that. We're going to press D on our keypad to bring that up to the work plane. All right. We're going to go ahead and turn our quality up. We can go ahead and click red. Y'all know I like a certain type of red. I don't like that red in there, so I don't use the presets on my red. All right. So now we got that in. Let's go ahead and get us another work plane. We're going to drop it down on here because I believe the next thing we're bringing in is going to be the yellow story. So we did 23, 24, yeah, 25. So let's go ahead and get 25. All right, so 25, import. All right, let's go get story from up under there. D on the work pane, D on your keypad. We are going to turn up our quality. And story is actually yellow. So let's go ahead and make that yellow. All right. So now we're going to go grab a work plane and we're going to put it behind here because now we're going to bring in the blue toy. Click on import, choose file, toy blue, import, click on it. We're going to bring it up, turn up our quality. We're going to change our color blue. All right, we're going to grab a work plane. We are going with yellow. So we know the yellow is going to fill in the Y so we can order O, so we can drop it anywhere in between here. So click on import, choose file, and then we are at, where are we? Toy yellow 27. So import. How do you number to remember?
Joy, I'm gonna show you something as soon as she gets done, and that'll help answer that question.
All right, click on it. Let's bring it up to the work plane. Turn our quality up. It is yellow. Okay. Now we are bringing in, what is next? What number was that? 26? Or 27? Was that 27? We're bringing in our last piece, I think. Let me see. Yeah, we're bringing in 28. All right, our last piece, our O. Thank you, babies. So let's put our work plane down there. Oh, go back. Put our work plane, import, and let's grab 28. Import. D on the keypad, bring it up. Let's go ahead and change our quality. And let's turn our color to blue. Blue, 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 blue. Okay. So now we should have all our pieces in. So let's go ahead and start sizing our pieces on here. So I'm going to click on story first. And I'm going to click on the middle. And I'm going to click in the 10. And I want that to have a little bit of depth. So I'm going to click on 5. And we're going to change that to 5. Okay. And then, all right, that is at 10. I think I did 6 on that. No. Hold on. What I did. Let's put it back on 10. Hold on. No, that I put I think this, hold on, the red one. Let's change that to 6. I think the red was, yes. All right, so click on the red plate and change the red plate to 6. And then you'll be able to see your toy come in front of it. So then we're going to click on the blue toy and we're going to put that at, I believe, 5. No, I think, did I leave that at 10? I might have left that at 10. Yeah, I think we're going to leave that at 10. Let's click on the yellow toy. And let's bring that, let me see, 12. Let's do 12 on that one, on the yellow toy. And then click on the O and do that at, let's see, 6. All right, now let's go behind it. Now these numbers are totally up to you. 65. Let's go with 65. So that's fine with me. I'm okay with that. So once you get that size, we're going to go ahead and highlight all of it. Press D to bring it up to the work plane for me. Once you do that, zoom out. Let's go ahead, highlight all of it again. And let's go ahead and stand it up at a 90-degree angle. You see how I did that the first time and it went through? I normally don't do that. I normally got to struggle. All right, and press D. Highlight all of it again and press D to bring it up to the work pane once you stand it up. So now once you have it standing up, first things first, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get us a cube. And we're going to go ahead and hollow this out on the inside. So let's turn our white piece of our bank into a hole so we can see inside. And let's go ahead and let's just make our cube bigger. And let's go ahead and put it inside of here. Just like that. Okay. And once you got it sized to your liking, right? In there, I'm gonna go ahead and lift it up some because I want to make sure it doesn't cut through the bottom. And then I'm basically going to click on the piece inside and then click on the outside and click on the align tool. And we're going to go ahead and align it. All right. And now that we got it aligned, we can go ahead and turn. Well, before we do that, let's go ahead and turn our inside into a hole. And let's go ahead and grab the top circle, the top square, and drag it down just beneath the bottom surface. Okay. I mean, the top surface right here, just beneath it like that. So once you do that, let's go ahead and click on the outside. Let's turn that back into a hole. All right. So your solid looks like that. Your hole is on the inside, guys. This is how you hollow out the inside of an object inside of Tinkercad. So once you do that, let's go ahead. Got all three of them. I should have did that. All right, just slow down one step, y'all. Let's go ahead and click on everything right here and let's move it. You should have all those shapes together in one. So you should be good. Don't be afraid. Do not be scared. So in this case, I'm gonna move. I normally would have grouped that together but it's okay. So in that case, when this happens, just go ahead and select all your pieces. You know how many pieces you brought in. Just select all your pieces and move them to the side. It ain't going to hurt nothing. You ain't going to mess nothing up. So now let's come over here. We're going to select it just like that. As you see right here, it says 2 shapes selected. So I know that's my inside, my hollow for the inside, and my outside. And then we're going to click right here and union group it together. We're going to union group it together. So now we got that step done. Okay. And this got to come up some. Them numbers ain't right. I'll fix that. But that's the only reason why that looks like that. I got to pull it up some. But all right. So now once we do that, now we're going to come over here to basic shapes. I'm going to come to, I don't even have it in this. It's not up here. All right. So how we going to do this is we're going to come to import, choose file, and you should have your plug. Where is it? Okay, let me download it because apparently I don't have it. Hold on. Up here. It's downstairs. I keep forgetting. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me download the plug real quick up here. Okay. All right, I just downloaded it. Now let's choose file. Oh, that's why it wasn't here. I was about to say I knew I downloaded it. Read is fundamental. All right, so click on open. Oh, that's right. Okay, you see where it's saying it's the 3MF, it's not a supported file. So in that case, when that happens, all right, so when that happens, let's go ahead and go to Bamboo. I'm sorry, y'all, I was reading something. Come into Bamboo, and all we're gonna do is we just gonna go ahead and we're gonna open up our plug, our plug. All right. So let's go to File, go to Import, and let's bring our plug cutter in. All right. So now this piece right here, you could just delete this piece. You don't need it at all. So this is going to be your cutter, which is going to be your hole, and this is going to be your plug. This piece right here is your plug. So we only need this piece right now for over in Tinker. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to export as one STL, guys. That's it. And you can name it whatever you want. So bank plug cutter is perfectly fine for me, but I'm gonna just put class behind it for tutorial purposes. So once you do that, then we're going to come back to Tinker. Now I'm going to show you how you get that in here and you don't ever have to worry about going through those steps again to import it in here. So now you're going to come to import, choose file. Here go our bank plug cutter class. We're going to open it. Now it opens because we saved it as a STL, so it's the correct file. We're just going to click right here on import. Okay, and then right here it goes. So just grab it, just move it out the way. So whenever you import a shape inside of here, anything like your necks and everything like that, it comes in locked in, to its size. But we want to go ahead and save this as a shape. So that way, whenever you're making your banks inside of here, you can always come in here and access this without having to go through the steps that I just took you through. So you're going to come here. You're going to click it. It'll start off under basic shapes. You're going to click here under your creations. Then you're going to click create shape. Okay. And now you're going to name your shape. So bank plug cutter class. I'm gonna just say class because that's what we did. And then you can save it as a solid or a whole. We're gonna do it as a whole. And we're gonna lock part to size because we know this is the correct size that we need. So we're just gonna lock the part to size and save it. So now anytime we need to do our banks, we can always come right in here. You click on under your creations, and your puck, whatever you got is saved in here. So that's how you save any piece you need to do these type of steps. So now let's go ahead and we're going to turn this one to a hoe, and we're going to go ahead and stand it up at a 90 degree. Okay. And now let's go ahead and move it over and start getting it sized up. So now we can just highlight this, click on the align tool. Let's go ahead and align here. And then all right, and now I just want to move it down. All right. Let's do it like this first. All right, I'm just going to put it in here. All right. Okay. And then I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to line it in the middle, just only in the middle. Now, I'm going to move. All right. I'm fine with that. All right, now let's align it in the middle. And then let's click on it. And let's just move it down. Let's move it down to where you want it. It's to your liking, how you want it. It's your bank. So I'm just going to move mine right there. All right. And I'm okay with that. I'm going to just go in just a little more, a couple more. And then now I'm going to highlight both of them and go ahead and union group that together. And just like that, there's my hole for my plug. There's my plug for my bank right there. So now, once we accomplish that, okay, we need our slot to be able to put our coins and our bills in. So we're just going to come back to basic shapes and we're just going to get us a cube, okay? Or you can get whatever shape it is that you want. It is totally up to you. You're just going to size it to your liking. All right. I told y'all I am not a measurement girl. I am a eyeball person. Yeah, and that's pretty much what works for me. And I've been getting by all these years. So let's go ahead and we're going to turn that into a hole. And let's go ahead and let's size this up. So highlight both of them. And
Hey, just real quick, just for me, how did you turn that into a hole so quick without going to the menu?
I did.
Did you,
It was right here.
oh, you did click the menu? Oh, I'm sorry.
It
I
was
thought you
already
did a.
open.
Oh, I thought you did a keyboard shortcut.
No, it was already open.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So now you have your piece for your slot. Let's go ahead and highlight that and let's align that up. All right, we aligned it in the middle. All right. So now highlight it and we're going to union group it together. And just like that, we have our coin slot. And you can do this. This is for the thank you card boxes, for weddings, birthdays, graduation. You can utilize this process right here that was just displayed to you guys could be used for a wide variety of different things that you can accomplish with this. Like seriously. So now we got our holes and our plug all marked up. We're good to go. So I do want So we're just going to export this by itself. Let's export this as STL. It's just one color. Bam. So that part is already done. So we can actually delete this piece if we want to. For real, because we don't even need it. So now we can come over here, highlight this again, and bring this over here. And then I do want to turn it on its back really quick because that's bothering me. Give me a second. All right. And then let's bring it down to the work plane. All right. Okay, so that is bothering me. So let me get this. I know what it was. I know what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to bring them in the tea in separate. That's what it was. I forgot. So that's what it was. That's why this looks like this. So I bought these in separate. That's right. So I got it down to 4 colors and I thought I was getting it down in 4 pieces, but I didn't. It actually ended up being, I think, 7 pieces because I bought these in separate because this O right here is not it's supposed to be coming through there, but I will fix that. But come on, let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and export this piece together over in Bamboo. And we're going to export this piece, this portion as an OBJ because we want this already painted when we get over there. So let's go ahead and always extract OBJs, guys. All right. So now we're going to come to Bamboo. So since we already have this one open, we just going to go ahead and get us a new plate. And let's go ahead and click on File, click on Import, And then let's get our Tinker file that we just saved. Click on open. So it's going to come in with our colors. I'm just going to click OK. And voila. Voila. Voila, voila, voila. Now, let's get us another plate. And we are going to import our bank portion. So go to downloads. And I believe it was it this? No, this one. All right. And voila. There you go. There you go. So now there's your hole right there for in the inside for your cutter. So we don't need this piece anymore. So we're going to click on that and delete that. So now we're going to print this on it. We're going to print this on the front. We're going to lay it flat on the front. So the plug piece will be up top that way. And we can print our plate separate by itself and just glue it to the front of the bank, guys. It's that simple. And we're going to go ahead and slice this bad boy and see what we're working with. Oh, we need some support. So go back, go into global, click on supports, enable supports. And there you have it. Just like that. And it slices. So you would need 3 plates, or if you can squeeze this little circle piece, I wouldn't. If you're printing on a P2S or anything, P2S or below, I wouldn't squeeze that on there. This piece is probably only going to take maybe like 16 minutes to print right here. But anybody got any questions? You love that way? I know. You know why? I know why. I love that
Quicker,
way.
quicker.
I know. And listen, y'all, I struggled. The plug is on Kev's Patreon. If you're one of his paid members, I think it's on I don't know if it's on what side it is, but I just know it's on Kev's side. But it will be included in the files. You will get it in the files. Less
Now,
parts. I was struggling in bamboo.
real quick, if you are on the $20 tier, you'll get the class files. So the plug will be included. Otherwise, you can still get the plug file if you're a paid Patreon member, even on the $10 tier. So either way, you can access it.
Any more questions? And you see, look, I'm stuck at 69% generating, still generating the support.
Is it the triangles?
It could be. It could be. It could be. It could be something from Tinker. Yeah, with the boolean. With
you know
me
what I
doing the plug
noticed?
cutter.
What y'all said tonight. So the way that I learned from the beginning, from Silhouette to Tinkercad, when I was every time I was bringing it to Bamboo, I was getting that error message about the triangles. You had to click repair, and then you remember I called you one time, and it was taking a long time.
Bamboo's froze.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's bamboo's tripping. It could be Tinker. So all I'm about to do. So all the files are under the classes and not in a location, correct?
The files will be my files will be posted on the Patreon. It'll say class files, for such and such a day. So if you're a baddie member, then it will be there.
Okay, here we go. It's slice, guys. It's slice. And it didn't put any supports inside. And we got our hole on the top. And you can see inside the box.
Yeah, I think there's supports inside there.
You think so?
Yeah, because the cantilever is too great to not have supports
Mm.
unless you choose. Did you click build plate only?
No, actually, I took supports off, so it doesn't even have supports. There's no supports enabled. I actually took them off, and it's not active.
Oh,
Yeah.
because see that the top of the box there, sitting horizontally like that. On the inside, there's nothing there. You see what I mean? To print the top of the box, that's a giant bridge. See what I mean?
You talking about here?
The whole box, the whole top of the box is completely hollow inside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's nothing there. Come scroll down, you'll see what I'm saying. Come down on the side there.
We're right here.
Yeah, and you'll see what I'm talking about. See, there's nothing there to hold that top shelf. Where normally you have to have supports because that's a massive cantilever there.
So so it's not supposed to put supports in the inside.
Right. So, but what I'm saying is it has to. There's nothing there because otherwise it will be a
So you
failed
saying
print.
it's not going to print? This ain't going to print?
We can't, right? Because we can't have a that big of a cantilever without any support.
So let's see. Let's go back and put the supports on it then. So where are we going? Build plate only?
Well, no, because then the only thing that does have to be supported is the slot. The slot has to be supported because it has a cantilever too,
Right here. Yeah, right here.
But what I'm saying is we really have to slice the back or the front off of that and glue it on separately. So that's why when you looked at the way I set up the file, that's why, because we can't have supports inside the box because there's no way to get the
So
supports
you saying
out.
don't print it. I get what you're saying now, and that's why you had the flange. That okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can't print it that way.
I see what you're
It's not a
saying.
matter of don't.
So all right.
Bamboo
So
be misguiding you sometimes, making you think that it's gonna go right, and then you get to print, and it's gonna be raggedy on the inside.
all right. So guess what? This what we gonna do then. So we ain't. This is the pivot guy. We're gonna come up here to the cut tool. All right. And this is gonna solve that right here, guys. This is how we fix that right here. All right. Keep orientation. Cut to parts. Perform cut.
Why did it slice?
It is because
did.
it's bamboo. It did. It's sliced. I see it sliced, but bamboo is tripping right now. Bamboo is really tripping. It's not responding, but I see the slice right here. You probably can't see it, but the slice is right here. But as soon as this respond, I'm gonna close it and open it back up, and we'll just go back and do that.
No, when I said why did it slice, it started slicing the plate again.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, not performing the slice, but slicing the plate. Yeah, that was very weird.
Bamboo tripping. All right, let's see what happened. Did we get our slice? No, we did.
No, I
We?
don't think it did the cut.
No, we didn't. All right, so come right here, guys. Perform cut right here. We're gonna just slide it up. Take about that much off right there. I'm okay with that. Cut to parts. Keep orientation. Perform cut. And bam. All right. So now we open that up. So let's go ahead and okay, I thought it was going to drop to the plane.
If you right click and choose split to objects, is that an option?
Yes, it is. Yeah. All right, there we go.
But now the hole, our plug hole is plugged up.
Yeah, I was about to say that. It don't look like it went
What
through.
the heck happened?
Because they had to put something behind it to make the flesh.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. All right, so this is what we doing because I ain't got time for this. Hold up.
So what you could do, take it up to the layer of where the hole stops at.
Cut it where the layer stops at.
Where that hole, where that hole stops at, that's the layer that you
Which
got to
one?
chop
This
it off.
one or this one?
The
one that,
yep,
all right.
yep, you got to chop it on that layer.
All right, let's go back. All right, guys. All right. All right, that look about right there. Right there.
Zoom in some to get to that hole. No, you're not there.
Hold on. Ain't we there? All right. We there? We got it? I think so.
A little bit more.
A little more.
Mm-hmm.
This tool is very tedious and tricky, y'all. Okay. Right there. Boom. Okay. All right.
And in this case, we don't really need cut to parts. So you could just go ahead and uncheck that and cut it.
All right.
And it'll separate.
And there we go. There we go. Okay.
Oh, now our box is still solid. See
It
that?
wasn't down enough.
So yep, you probably got to go down just a little bit. What you can do,
Just cut the box
slice
again.
your plate and then find out where that layer is at.
Just
while you're
cut
in the preview screen, and then you'll know which layer to cut on.
You could just cut the box off a little bit more. See what I'm saying? Just run the cut plate on the box again and open it up.
Right here?
Yeah, just lower it. Yeah, but not, yeah, just take a whack a little bit off it. Yeah. We don't know how thick the wall of the box was, but yeah, go ahead and just cut it like that. We can always change the thickness of the box.
All right, there we go. Now we got an open box, guys.
And then, yeah.
Okay, delete. And let's get another plate. And bam. There you have it. So this is the front of the box. You're going to glue the plate, the Toy Story, to the front of this box. And then this piece back here. And then this is the plug. Any questions? What kind of glue? It is in the group under the Amazon links. I got the 3D glue I use in there, and it is, I mean, a beast. I don't have no issues with it. Yeah, I love it.
I do have one thing to show before we close her out.
Okay.
Schwan, you're gonna want to pay attention to this. I know you're a dedicated Tinkercad gal, so you're gonna want to see this. So this was our original Buzz file, and you could see here that we have all of these pieces, and that's what we worked through in Inkscape, right? And I noticed in Tinkercad, it can be a little bit tedious to have to export every SVG. So what I did, and this is one of the reasons why I really like to work with Inkscape, is because we can geek out. If we want to geek out, we can geek out. So I put on my Python programming hat and created a little tool for those that are diehard Tinkercad fans. So we could see earlier we had to all these different pieces. We had to export an SVG, turn things off, turn things on, right? And that's tedious, especially when we have lots of pieces like this. So what I did was I just created a tool in Inkscape that does that for us automatically. And you notice here that in Inkscape, we named everything, right? And so this is one of the advantages. Now, we couldn't do this in Silhouette, but you could create your file in Silhouette, bring it into Inkscape, rename your parts, and then export to SVG in Inkscape. And what's nice about this, if we come up here to extensions and come down here to the STL 3D warehouse, down here, you can see we have path exporter. And so when we click on this, it'll bring up this little dialog box, and it allows us to specify where we want our SVGs to be exported to. And then we could just go ahead and hit apply. And then when we do that, it's going to take a look at it, and it's confirmed that all of these SVGs have now been exported to that folder we specified. So now, if we come here on the desktop here to toy, you'll see that all of those individual SVGs all those individual parts have now been exported to an SVG. And you'll notice too that all of the names. So when we go to import those into Tinkercad, we know we have green wings and flanges and back plates and so on and so forth. So that will simplify that aspect of the Silhouette to Tinkercad process, because we can, one click of the mouse, we can export all of our SVGs.
Nobody has any more questions? All right, so yes.
So I could have did that today, Steve.
What's that?
I mean, Kev, I keep saying Steve. What you just did, I could have did that with the sneaker.
If you had a reason to. I'm not sure. Were you working in Tinkercad today?
Oh no. I was working in Inkscape. All right, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So if you're going to Inkscape to Bamboo, we don't have to export SVGs. But if you are going from Bamboo or Silhouette to Tinkercad, then we do need individual SVGs, and this is just a quick way to do it. You don't have to do it manually. You don't have to remember, what name is what, because it's all right there for you.
All right.
All right. So if any of my staff is still in here, please don't message the staff chat while I'm sharing my Facebook screen for now. So real quick, okay. Let me see. Kev, what group was it in? Mine's or yours?
Oh, what was that?
The neck problem.
It was probably in mine.
Okay.
If you go to photos, that's usually a quicker way to find posts, because you'll see the photo of the neck, like recent media.
We're in here
on the right there. I think you can actually see it already.
No. Oh yeah, right here. Yeah, I see it.
And then click on view post on the right there up top.
Okay. All right. So this issue right here, this is a printer and settings issue, a filament issue. This is not a file issue. Okay. We don't have no problem. I print this neck. I got a neck downstairs printed that I just printed for a toolbox, and it is pristine. It is amazing. It looks good. So when you run it, when I see stuff like this and I look, and it's a post, not saying this particular person in general, but when a post is, or when they get it, when y'all get in our inbox and you would bring this to us, this is not a foul issue. That is a printer and setting issue, guys, a filament issue. Maybe your filament's not dry. But I need y'all to stop thinking that it's automatically the foul when you run into issues like this. Please. Please. What was the other one? What the other one, Kev?
What's that?
What was the other issue?
I'm not sure exactly.
Wasn't it something about repair?
Oh, well, that was the lampshade. Somebody was trying to import a Tinkercad, not a lampshade. It was a mirror. They were following the class tutorial, creating the mirror in Tinkercad, and then they could not export from Tinkercad and get it imported into Bamboo. And that's not a uncommon thing. It does happen from time to time. Tinkercad could be kind of goofy sometimes, and she tried to repair it and was not successful. Yeah, right there. Was not
Okay.
successful in repairing it. And so it's not something that really Bamboo is set up to prepare. Especially, it can repair its own issues, but it doesn't like to fix other people's issues. So when we're importing a model from a outside software, it doesn't do a good job of repairing those models.
So yes. So this issue right here, I run into this issue a lot, especially when I'm working 2, 3, 4 in the morning. I run into this issue. I don't know what it is with the softwares, whether if it's Bamboo or Tinker, but I run into this issue a lot of the times in the middle of the night when I'm working in the wee hours of the morning. I hit repair, it won't repair. I try to fix the model, it won't fix. In this instance, when I run across this issue, as unfortunate as it is, and as much as I don't like to, I know the only fix for this is for me to go and redo my file. Okay. So that's what I do when I'm faced with this issue. It's nothing Kev or myself could tell you to how to fix it, because it's no fix for it. This one is in my personal, the next one is in my personal inbox. So I'm not going to pull the next issue up, but it was a similar situation where a lampshade from that was made, and it's litho, and she clicked repair and it was just spinning, just like this post right here. It was the same thing. It was a lampshade. So at the end of the day, when that happens, it's something that transpires from it's litho to Bamboo. Something's lost, something goes wrong. If I try it once or twice, I'll open the file up once or twice. If I can't get it to go through, I'm going back in and I'm changing and I'm redoing the file again. I'm just going to redo the lampshade. It only takes a couple minutes anyway. So if you just took the time to just patiently just go and redo the file, you would actually come out a lot better than trying to sit here and figure this problem out for 2-3 hours. Like, you're not going to get nowhere. You're not going to get nowhere. So just start over. All you got to do is start over, guys. That's it. Just start over. Anybody got any questions? Well, if y'all don't have anything for us, it has been real. I enjoyed per usual. I will get the files done and get everything. If you are on the paid side of my Patreon, you will get the finished files. If you are on the free side, I will drop you something. But y'all know the exclusives is for the paid Patreon members only. Absolutely, you guys are welcome. You guys are welcome. Y'all are not vocal enough for me. I don't know how many times I got to keep stressing this, but we want to hear from y'all. Y'all bring the issues and the problems that y'all having, but y'all don't bring the projects y'all want us to do. I don't understand that. We keep asking y'all to bring us what y'all want, because that'll give us, a sense of, where to. You have a few questions? Come on the mic, love. Thank you, sis. You can come on the mic if you got a question, love. But other than that, like I was saying, y'all not vocal enough, and I need y'all vocal. What's up, love? Hello? So, one-on-ones, you ready? Go ahead, love.
I had I know a couple of us asked about like designing cheer sticks in Kevin's group.
Okay.
And I know there was a young lady who had like the back part. She has a file for the cheer stick handle. So
Mhm.
maybe we can incorporate the design of the front with her cheer stick handle. So maybe a
Okay.
class on designing those for different school logos or different mascot logos with
Okay.
the students' names.
Okay.
So
We
what
can.
would be helpful in that? I mean, we could certainly do that, but I think what would be more meaningful is to work on at least one or two of those with someone's information. So, for example, you say, "Oh, I want a bulldog one with Mariah," or you know what I'm saying. So we might as well be, as we're making something, making something that somebody can use rather than just making something up on a whim. So that that if you have something that you want to see, that would be a good thing to see. I'm gonna.
I can volunteer as tribute.
Can you see my screen still?
Let me stop sharing.
So one thing that I want to point out, and I don't know, I think Yvette, you might have come in a little late, but at any rate, this is my YouTube channel, All Things Creative here, and there are lots of examples. In fact, if we just take a look at this one right here, the SC State one, this project is 11 minutes long, but this project, like many others, is the same thing. Because if we take a look at if you use the chair stick as an example, what is that? That's a handle, right? And then on the front of that handle is mounted some type of board or 3D print sign, essentially. Well, when we look at these projects, like this one, for example, we show you how to take the original image that the customer sent, how to set it up, how to add text, how to layer it, how to take that into Bamboo and create the 3D model for that. Yeah. Now, in this particular case, it might be for a hype chain, or it might have been, I forgot exactly the purpose of that particular one. I think it might have been a logo for one of the gift box hats, but the process is exactly the same. It's just scaled up. And there are lots of examples like that. That's one of them. But if we scroll down here a little ways, this is a sign. This was done North Shore lacrosse sign because we put hooks at the top. But essentially, that is the same process, right? Because that's got the mascot logo. It's got a back plate that we hook our handle to. Um, so there's lots of those types of projects. This is another one somebody sent in, and it's a custom logo for a business, but the principle is the same. And of course, any of our hype chain videos would be basically the same as the plate on a chair stick. So a lot of that information already exists. Not that we can't do one live, we can, but I've just, if you want to experiment and look, here's a good example. Now this was,
Yeah,
this is
that's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah.
yeah, this particular one is designed for a hype chain, but the process is exactly identical for the cheer stick. And then of course we could add a name to this, and there's other examples where we do show that. So if you just want to peruse some of the existing videos that we have, you may well find, here's another example. This is a business logo, but this is just another good example. It's a very short video. It's only 8 minutes, but we show you how to take the image that was provided, do what we need to do in Inkscape, and then do what we need to do in Bamboo to turn it into a model. Here's another one. See, it says wicked fast hype chains with Inkscape. Panthers, same principle for the cheer stick. So, and what's really interesting as we get into and really understand, this hype chain is what? Is the same exact process for a lamp, the same exact process for a pen holder, the same exact process for a keychain. It's literally the same exact process for so many different products. So yes, this is walking you through the hype chain aspect, but then you get to thinking, well, geez, I could use that for all kinds of things. So So yeah, I just wanted to point out there's a lot of really good information there on the channel if you haven't already seen some of that stuff.
I will look at that. I think I was overthinking it because I know on the laser side it needed screw holes, and I didn't know how we would do that on a cheer stick. But I guess if it's going on a flat surface, it could just be glued on.
Yeah, yeah. And I use this product. It's called Gorilla Glue Clear Grip contact adhesive. It dries perfectly clear. So if you get a little glue squeeze out, you won't really see it. But boy, it really does hold 2 pieces of PLA together like no other. It takes overnight to cure, but once it cures overnight, like it is stuck. So that's a pretty good one. And the glue is inexpensive also. So
Thank you.
yep.
Anybody else got anything? And really quick, since he was running through that, I was just running through Tinker, like, because we want you guys to really start thinking outside the box, right? I really want y'all to start, like, really, like, relying more on instincts. Like, oh, man. So I'm about to share my screen real quick and just show you. This is just simple. And I've never created a cheer, whatever it is, a cheer wand. I never created one of those, but if I was to, just how simple it is to just come and tinker and do a handle, guys. Like, so you come in and you get your whatever shape you want to use, and I stood this piece up, and then I made this piece, and just come over and size it up however you want to, and okay, and then you say, all right, well, we're just going to duplicate this one and just drag that one down right there. And just like that, you got a handle, guys. He just showed you the process of making the hype chain. The hype chain is the same as making the cheer thingy. So he just showed you how to make the plate for the hype chain, right? That's the same thing. And then here's a handle and tinker. And then you come in here. I mean, of course, fix it up, nicer and stuff. But, I'm just showing you how simple and easy. And you just group that together and you got you a handle. You got your handle. It's that simple, guys. It is that simple.
That was fast too.
I know. I know. Listen, I am not them enablers. We're not them. We want to give you what you need to go out and do what you got to do to get some coins. I want to start seeing y'all post more, like really applying yourself more, because like the possibilities are endless, right? Endless. And it's so simple. It's something as simple as that. And the old me, right? The old me, the beginning me, the beginner, the noob me would have went on Etsy and found the handle, paid $8, $15 just for this piece. You know what I'm saying? When it's a couple steps like this, just coming and getting a cylinder. Say you wanted to do it in a rectangle. You want to come over here, boom, right? All right. So we know boom, and let's go ahead and duplicate that. All right, and bring that one there.
And when you get your A2L, you can make really giant cheer
Yes,
sticks.
that's a fact. That is a fact. That is a fact. But I'm just showing you just like how easy and simple it is to making a freaking handle, guys. I mean, of course, make it look neater and, proportioned the right way. But I'm just saying it's that simple. That's how simple it is to come in here and make your handles to the things that you need. All right, there we go. Now, let's bring that over. I'm gonna make that skinnier like that. Just a little bit. Make it look a little cuter. Just a little cuter for tutorial purposes. All right, and there we go. And then just stretch that out just a little bit to make it look a little cute. Go down a little bit. All right. And then union group. Or no, that wasn't union group, was it? Union group. I didn't mean to get all. I did get all of it. But y'all get the picture. Them 3 shapes, and then union group, and just like that, you got your handle. Got your handle, guys. There's different shapes in here you can play with. Like, don't be afraid to come in here and play with stuff. Do not be afraid at all. So if y'all don't have anything else, I enjoyed. We'll put it up when the next class is, because we're working on that. Class every day is not. People's already struggling with keeping up with what we're putting out here. So we're probably down to class 3 days a week. So we'll put it in the group and let you guys know when the next class is. Anybody got any more questions before we end out? All right. Well, I enjoyed. Kev, I'm going to call you for a debrief.
All right.
All righty. And I guess I will talk to you guys later.
Thank you, guys.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.